Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us for the Aspirant CCG Venus and Mercury League Finals. My name is Anna Jane MTG, and I'm here with Becky Bear. We're going to be providing some commentary for this. If you're not familiar with the VML, it's a weekly league showcasing the talents of just women and non-binary players on Magic Arena. Players playing in each of 4 divisions. We have 7 weeks of round robin. We cut to a top 12. This is actually our top 8. This is the last show of the season. We had a wildcard round last round where we trimmed down from the top 12 to the top 8. Top 8, yeah. And we have some great matches that we're going to be showing you tonight. We're going to be doing one quarterfinal match, both semifinals, and all of that was pre-taped. And then we're going to bring you a live finals to crown our winner and our Season 2 VML champ. So how are you doing today, Becky?
I'm doing pretty okay. Very excited to get into this big top 8. It was very exciting to go into the season and have a lot more new players. So very exciting to see the second season go as well as it has, and I'm looking forward to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, me too. I made the top 12, and then I lost to our champion from last season, High Banana Fish. So we might see her today. We don't know. She's got to win her match. But if she does, we're going to see her in the semifinals.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Very exciting. Always cool to see a champion from last season kind of take it that far again, you know? Good to know.
And also, some new people who didn't play last season made it.
Oh, yeah. Very
nice.
Exciting. And some streamers and some people that will be able to shout out and really get you some new female and non-binary players to watch. Yeah,
and just for anybody in chat, just so you know, you can type ! player name to find the deck list for our players. So you'll type in their exact handle with the ! command. And we do, the prize pool right now is $480 for the season. And if you donate by subbing or supporting our channel or with the donate link, then that's going to go directly into the prize pool. So if you do that, you'll be able to, get our winners a couple extra dollars. So right now it's about $200 for first place, but maybe you can bump that up if you're feeling generous.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to get into it?
Oh yeah.
All right. So this is our top 8 metagame for this week. We also saw kind of like a small metagame last week with only 8 decks to be going from. What do you think about the decks that our players have chosen? Do you think that this is a kind of interesting array? Do you think it's a pretty standard array of decks? What are you thinking?
I mean, it's definitely a standard array because we're playing standard.
True, you're right.
But yeah, I haven't been too on top of the format here. I know we're in the 3rd week, I believe, of the new standard. And it's interesting to see Team Rex, like a pretty classic deck that's been around for a while. Like the bank control lists are pretty fun. They've definitely changed though, because I played a lot of Yorion in the season, and when the companion nerf happened, I was like, I don't feel like changing my deck. And it was a super
Yorion
awkward.
was one of the few that got to kind of take advantage of the change in the way that it really hurt all the other companions, but didn't really hurt Yorion.
Right, yeah.
So that was interesting for sure.
Yeah, we have one companion in this bracket here in the Rakdos Sacrifice deck. So it might be interesting if we end up seeing that was Nessa, yeah. If we end up seeing her play out there.
Nessa Meow Meow has a Gigantha in her Rakdos Sacrifice deck, or as I've put it, Rakdos Sacrifice. Whoops.
That's okay,
I think we've watched her play several matches with the Gigantha Rakdos Sacrifice deck, but I don't think that she's ever actually cast Gigantha, at least not on our streams that we've watched of her playing.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a synergy card. Just like it's a free card that you can have, and when it was a 5-mana 5/5 you can cast for like just as an 8th card in your hand, it's fine. But when you have to pay an extra 3 mana to like load it up, it feels like kind of like a last ditch
Yeah,
But,
feels a little unfortunate, but I think that the decks that I'm personally the most excited to see, because we've seen Jund Sacrifice, we've seen Temur Reclamation, we've seen the other Sacrifice deck and Band Control a bunch, but we haven't seen as much of the Mono Black aggro and Mono Green aggro, and I've been hearing a lot about Mono Green aggro being a great way to combat both of those top styles of play. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how the two aggro decks in our metagame shape up against those more played decks.
Yeah, because we're only going to be watching one quarters final match, which is going to be Digitech Wire versus Lady of the Crease. But the other three matches are just what's up? Oh, I'm mistaken. My bad. So we're watching two quarterfinals and one semifinal match. So my apologies, folks. But yeah, let's see the decks or the bracket.
Yeah, so this is going to be our bracket. First, we have, as Anna was saying, we'll be watching Digitech Wire versus Lady of the Crease. I'm not sure what our other quarterfinal match that we're watching is going to be. We're going to be watching Mighty Linguini versus Nessa Meow Meow. Thank you very much. Perfect. And then, so Anna and I don't know the results of, we've tried to keep ourselves as spoiler-free as humanly possible. And so we don't know the results of, I know the result of one on accident. Whoops, my bad. But we don't know the results of a lot of these matches. So we don't know who we're going to be watching in the semifinals or in the finals at all. So this is going to be completely live for Anna and I to be casting and completely off the cuff. We don't know what's going to happen, don't know the results, and we're kind of just here to live through it with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the Digitech Wire match because we get to see the Mono Black deck in the hands of Lady in the Crease go up against Jund Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And here is that Mono Black list.
So Lady, yeah, go ahead.
So what stuck out to me here? I mean, it was really exciting to like look at it and see something different, something I haven't seen before. What stuck out to me was like the removal split in her list.
Mm-hmm. It definitely seems like she's pretty light on removal. When I was looking at the lists and compiling everything, and also like kind of watching, we got to see her wildcard match last week for VML stream. It was interesting to see the way that some of her one-of creatures came into play, as well as some kind of big blowouts and really interesting and crazy plays with the card Demonic Embrace.
Yeah, that card was really sweet. Like I played that in a couple drafts and I was really impressed with it. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and she's playing 4 of them, so she must think that it's a really good card if she's putting 4 of them into her deck.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same sort of issues that like most of the auras have because you can always get it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And we have Digitech Wire here, who is playing Jund Sacrifice. There's a couple pretty interesting lists in here, or cards. They're running a 2-2 split of Scavenging Ooze and Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Mm-hmm. What do you think of that?
It's very interesting to see them go down to fewer copies of Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Mm-hmm. Priest has been kind of one of the iconic cards of the Sacrifice decks since it came out. And it's one of the best ways to combat a lot of the decks that are playing things like Uro and Hydroid Krasis right now, because you are able to just like very easily sacrifice your own things and get rid of their one big threat. And basically in a lot of cases, like, you're getting a lot out of sacrificing things and they're having to lose their one big thing. So it ends up being like a 5-for-1 in a lot of cases. But I think Scavenging Ooze also does a really good job of combating things like Uro, and it's very good against things like Elspeth Conquers Death as well, even though a lot of people may not immediately kind of see that connection. So I think that it's definitely a decent split. And I don't know. I'm very in for Scooz. I'm really happy with that reprint, and I think it was a good thing to put into standard.
Yeah, big same here. The other thing, a couple other things stuck out was the 2 copies of Land of War Visionary and 2 Woest Riders, and then the 2 Solemn Simulacrums.
Yeah, I do feel like it's maybe a little scary. Digitech Wire has gone down on sacrifice outlets in only having 2 Woest Riders and then 2 Priests. Previously, you would have had 8, and they've gone down to 4. So I do wonder if we're going to see that kind of be disadvantageous for them. They do have 2 copies of Corvold the Fey Cursed King, which I know previously in Jund Sacrifice decks people were completely removing because having the one big threat that's easily removed is not always what you want to be doing on your turn 5. So it'll be interesting to see how their deck full of 2-ofs is going to shake out. That's definitely kind of how it feels.
Yeah, everything that's not a land is either 4 or 2 in this list. Which is something you don't always see. So
yeah, I don't know if I like it or dislike it. I could be swayed to the direction of like, but it is. I feel like in Magic you hear so much about like the fabled 1-ofs. So, and you can also find them at Digitech_Wire on Twitter if you'd like to see more of their content. And also, Ladies is at Lady of the Crease. Sorry, we forgot to mention that before. So, all right, enough talk. How about we get into this match then?
Okay. And before I start, just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Card Market. It's a great place to buy cards. They're in Europe, right?
Yes, they're based in Europe.
Yeah. Cool. Great. So we're going to be watching from Digitech Wire's side, and they are on the play.
Definitely a spot that you want to be
keeping this hand, yeah.
This hand seems pretty good. We would normally like to see like a goose, or especially a goose if we have 2 Trail of Crumbs in hand. I would think would make this deck chef's kiss. Like if one of those trails was a goose, I would think that this hand is beautiful.
Right.
It was a mole too. Okay.
Yeah. Missed that. We have an Overgrown Tomb tap to start for Digitech. And a Gutter Bones from Lady of the Crease.
The claim is a nice draw to see from Digitech Wire. It is going to be very good against a lot of the things that are coming out of Lady of the Crease's deck. Shame that we got that Priest of the Forgotten Gods eliminated. That would have been a nice way to steal something and immediately sacrifice it so that Lady isn't able to get it back, but it's all right. We'll throw down the Mayhem Devil and see if it can cause some mayhem.
All right, and we see the Demonic Embrace coming down on that Gutter Bones, attacking for 5 and bringing Digitech down to 11.
That's a big ol' swing. We do have this claim, so we could take it and make a big swing back, but I just don't know that it's quite doing enough right now.
Yeah, we're instead going to see the Scavengers come down and eat the Priest out of Digitech's graveyard. You know, trying to get that extra power and that extra life for the race might make a difference here.
Spawn of Mayhem's going to try and say, I don't want it to make a difference. Spawn of Mayhem, of course, going to be pinging at the beginning of each of Lady of the Crease's upkeeps. Is likely going to be kind of evening the playing field that Scavenging Ooze was trying to create.
Yeah, I think what they're thinking here is Mayhem Devil and then popping the Fabled Passage and shooting down the Gutter Bones. Still still go down to 2 next turn with that play, though.
2 is better than 0.
Or 3, though, if you eat it with the Scavenging Ooze afterwards.
Which you would be able to, because you'll be able to sacrifice the passage. It'll come in untapped, and you can get a green. So that certainly seems like it's one of the more safe directions to go.
Yeah, this is a really interesting turn. I feel like they're thinking about whether they should attack with both creatures or not, like trying to plan out the combat.
It seems like it's got to be a little scary to even think about going to combat in this situation.
Well, instead it looks like they're going to go with a Trail of Crumbs, with a Fabled Passage, being able to generate a food and go up to 10 life.
But it's really 9, which is exactly illegal for Lady of the Crease.
Yeah.
I guess, you do get 2 sacrifices off of the Mayhem Devil this way, through the Fabled Passage and the food.
Right, okay.
All right, Digitech Wire is seeing something that we were taking a little while to see. They've clearly played this deck more than either of us.
Oh, there's a reason that they were the only 7-0 in the round robin play.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And Digitech Wire sweeped their division. Ooh.
Right. A Demonic Embrace on the Spawn of Mayhem, which is going to present a 7 power attacker here.
We're still alive.
Yeah, we'll be able to go down to 2 after this play.
It is certainly a little scary that we have this Claim the Firstborn in our hand and we're about to kill the Gutter Bones and we are not able to claim the Firstborn, the Spawn of Mayhem.
Right.
But as we said, we're alive here.
We can, I mean, sometimes that's all that matters, is you want to just stay alive.
Mm-hmm. We will be able to eat the 2 important cards out of Lady of the Crease's graveyard as well. We have a similar play as we kind of mapped out last turn, where we play the Mayhem Devil and then also have the Fabled Passage, but Digitech Wire has decided, yeah. It's going to be a little too hard to live through the Spawn of Mayhem, so we're going to go to sideboarding.
So what do you feel about their sideboard plans here?
It looks like they're adding multiple Corvold the Fey Cursed Kings, taking out the Solemn Simulacrum and 2 of the Trail of Crumbs. I think that I like what they're doing for the most part. Trail of Crumbs is kind of bad in multiples. You don't really need to see more than one. So it makes sense that in an aggressive matchup, you're getting rid of the card that doesn't functionally do anything when it comes into play. I think it's interesting that they're going up on copies of Corvold. It seems kind of like it is
a flying blocker.
That's true. It does. So it will block Spawn of Mayhem. That makes a lot of sense. And if that's the case, then I can understand why they're doing that.
As well as Demonic Embrace.
Yes. Okay, then that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It does just seem like it's a big... Usually I don't like to include expensive... I don't like to go up in CMC against aggro decks.
Oh, right. But, I mean, considering how Game 1 played out, not being able to block anything, I can see why you might want to have Corvold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine that they're likely thinking a similar thing to you as well.
Yeah, this is a pretty slow start for Lady of the Crease, and it looks like Digitech Wire is kind of doing their thing.
Mm-hmm. Lady of the Crease could be thinking a similar thing to last game as well, and like I won off the back of Spawn of Mayhem and Demonic Embrace, and it's possible that she kept a hand full of those 2 cards.
What do you think about the decision not to attack last turn?
I don't really think that I understand not attacking last turn. There is 1 flash creature, but I don't think that when we have like 2 foods in play and a Trail of Crumbs, it was going to be detrimental for us to lose the Cauldron Familiar to a flashed in 3/1 Knight.
Yeah. So yeah, the first turn of the play for Lady is going to be a Duress, taking that Eliminate out of Digitech's hand.
Very interesting to see Duress have even come in against Digitech Wire, I think, but it makes sense. The few spells that are in Digitech Wire's deck are very kind of big and important. Things like Witch's Oven, Trail of Crumbs, so on and so forth.
Right. And I mean, I think we're going to see Corvold here after this attack.
Let's hope so. I do love me a big dragon.
Always. Oh, no.
We're holding off. We're waiting.
Yeah.
Interesting decision when Lady basically knows everything in Digitech Wire's hand.
Uh-huh. And I'm
Ooh.
pretty sure Digitech shocked there.
Mm-hmm. I believe that
Oh,
they did.
I
But
guess
it
the idea is to activate Goose, sack of food, and then trigger trail.
mm-hmm.
And
Kind of
just
buffer your life total and also dig a little bit for some extra things.
yeah, I think it's interesting to see the Doom Whisperer come out of the sideboard as
Mm-hmm.
well. Um, we did notice like how effective flyers were,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, like you didn't think that Digitech would put in more expensive cards, but now we
Mm-hmm.
see Lady also put in more expensive cards, and really has this game has been shaping up a lot differently.
Yeah, it is certainly interesting to see the way that both of them have prioritized creature type and ability over uh, CMC, which I find personally very interesting considering the matchup of kind of like the mid-range deck versus the control deck or the aggro deck. Yeah, you could
Yeah,
kind of argue that Lady has sideboarded into a mid-range deck and the Jund Sacrifice deck is kind of bordering on a control deck against it.
right. A couple of the other cards that might have come in from Lady are Sorcerer's Spyglass, 2 copies, 3 Noxious Grasps, and he also had two copies of Duress and a Drill Bit. So,
We
and we
are
see the
seeing that.
Noxious Grasp here. Yeah,
We're gonna likely see Digitech Dwyer draw about 3 cards in response to this Noxious Grasp, though, off of the Corvold's activated ability,
right.
sacrificing a food, and then likely sacrificing the cat and sacrificing another food while this Noxious Grasp is on the stack. Kind of just fill up our hand. Oh, or we can sacrifice the Corvold as well.
Still draws a card.
Yeah, still draws a card, and they will also get 2 foods because they're sacrificing a creature with a toughness of 4 or greater. Always good to have a little extra food around when you're feeling snacky.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had some right now.
I know I had to eat right before we started because I was like, I'm going to be dead in like an hour if I don't right now. All right,
So
and
we
now
see Rankle come down for Lady of
the
the
one of
Crease.
Rankle in Lady of the
Yeah.
Crease's deck.
And Digitech jumps with the Goose on Rankle instead of the Doom Whisperer, opting to take a little more damage to prevent the Rankle trigger.
And we are kind of from that block and also from the cards that Lady of the Crease is playing, we are seeing exactly what we kind of laid out, that they're both prioritizing having flyers and dealing with flyers and avoiding taking damage from these flyers. And it's very difficult to deal with a 6/6 flying trample creature.
Yeah, so now we have 2 Mayhem Devils for a Digitech. So I can't do this math in my head, but like
we certainly can deal 6 damage on board right now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And there's a second Cauldron Familiar in hand for Digitech, which we might see cast off of a food.
Yeah, that would definitely allow us to deal 6 damage to the Mayhem.
Going Fates.
Oh. This could make sense. If we're able to deal 6 damage to a Doom Whisperer, what makes that better than basically the 2-turn clock in the form of the Mayhem Devil and the cat sacrificing and just like throwing it upstairs?
Right.
Like we can take 9 next turn. We aren't expecting Lady of the Crease to have another hasty creature to play. So it's not so bad for us to take 9 damage from the creatures that are in play.
I think Lady's dead.
I don't think that she's dead. I think she goes to either 4 or 2 unless I'm missing something. But it's certainly very close.
Cat comes back. No, because now we have a Goose trigger too to sack a food. It's going to do the last 2.
Oh, right. Oh, and we can play the cat off of it too. Okay, the cat would deal the extra damage that I'm missing. I always forget that you can also, like, if you have multiple foods, you can stack triggers of Cauldron Familiar. The one Cauldron Familiar sacrificing multiple foods before actually coming back, which is what we see Digitech Wire doing here.
Yeah, it's a really heads-up play that isn't very, very obvious at first glance, but really showing the skill with the Gen Sacrifice tech for a Digitech Wire and tying it up at 1-1.
All right, we'll see if they change anything about their sideboarding plan here. Doesn't look like they will.
And you think on the play, Lady's going to lower her curve a little bit?
I would imagine so. If I was playing an aggro deck like the mono black deck, I would certainly be going a lot lower curve, especially after watching how Digitech Wire sideboarded in the last game.
Mm-hmm. So unfortunately here we have Lady keeping her opening 7, but Digitech is going down to 5.
Yeah, that is certainly unfortunate.
It looks like a decent 5 to me, but I don't know. I mean,
that 5 got a lot better the moment you drew that Witch's Oven.
Yeah. Gilded Goose doing a little bit to help get a little bit of tempo back here. Being able to make an extra mana and Trail of Crumbs being able to get some cards. But Spyglass coming out of the sideboard.
All right, well,
Lady.
that felt bad. Initially, when we made that mulligan 2/5, I was like, the cat doesn't feel like it was a great keep without like some kind of sacrifice outlet in the form of Witch's Oven. I don't usually like keeping a cat, especially because cat is bad in multiples in a lot of situations. But they decided to keep one cat, and then we drew the Witch's Oven, and I was like, okay, I'm glad I didn't say anything, because I would have eaten those words. But now with the Sorcerer's Spyglass, I kind of wish we would have kept the other goose instead of bottoming that one, because it would have been a better use of...
Well, we don't know.
Right? Yeah, yes.
They have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So we do see a Trail of Crumbs and a Cauldron Familiar come down for Digitech on turn 2. Passing it back to Lady. And we'll see what she does on her 3rd turn with Swamp.
Demonic Embrace.
Yeah.
You have to say it like that too.
Demonic Embrace.
It does sound dark and gloomy.
Just attacking, threatening the pump, and Digitech blocks with the Cauldron Familiar, which can come back at the end of the turn if they choose. Instead, we're going to see a Stonefoil Serpent for 3 out of Lady, and that has protection from multicolored, which is something that, and reach. That has a lot of words that you might not realize at first glance.
That card very good against Corvold the Fakehurst King.
Yes.
Was Cauldron Familiar or Witch's Oven named on the Sorcerer's Spyglass?
It was Oven.
Okay. I do figure most people typically name Oven because it's better against them sacrificing other creatures, but every once in a while it's correct to name Cauldron Familiar instead. Especially after we watched Digitech Wire basically win the game off of multiple activations of the Cauldron Familiar. They
had an Oven though, yeah. But yeah, on turn 2, it's probably best to always name Oven. All right. So we have an attack from Lady. Jumping with the Cauldron Familiar again. And taking 3 damage from the Stonecoil Serpent. Not enough to trigger the Knight.
Yeah, Digitech Wire seems to be very scared of that Knight of the Ebon Legion getting any bigger than it already is.
I don't blame them. It's one of the most powerful 1-drops we've seen in a while.
So earlier I mentioned Cauldron Familiar not being the best in multiples.
How's a 3rd?
3 is certainly too many.
I have 3 cats, and I'm very happy with it. But in a game of Magic, maybe it isn't the best.
Yeah.
Spawn of Mayhem going to deal 1 to both players. And Lady's still on 3 lands. Didn't play a land last turn. Cast the Spawn of Mayhem with the
trigger.
Yeah, spectacle. I couldn't think of that word. And we have a lot of damage coming in here. Looks like we might see a double block on that Stonecoil Serpent.
Stonecoil Serpent is big and scary. I don't want it to get through either.
And Goose is just gonna step in front of the knight. Maybe, maybe not.
It's so hard to get rid of your Goose because you have no cards in hand, and your real only card advantage engine to claw yourself back into this game where we are right now is with the Goose and the Trail of Crumbs.
Right.
So it's a hard spot to be in, but
being a 0/2, there's an argument to block and sort of try to get some tempo on Lady by making her spend all of her mana there. Mm-hmm. But here we have Eliminate cleaning up the... Oof. We have Eliminate cleaning up the double block. So Stonecoil lives, and Crafts takes out the Goose, and Lady wins.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Lady of the Crease. Unfortunate for Digitech's Wire to come, their run to come to an end here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did come into this 7-0, so it is a little heartbreaking to see them go down to a Lady of the Crease, but Lady of the Crease playing I think a good metagame call against what she expected to see people play in this top 8. I think that the mono black deck is kind of going to be a force to be reckoned with against what a lot of people chose to bring after looking at that metagame.
Yeah, I didn't know like what to expect from the deck. I was like really excited to see it because it was so different from what I had seen this season and what I had been expecting.
Yeah.
Also bringing like some cards like, Blacklands Paragon I've always enjoyed as a card, and Rotting Regisaur I feel like has been around for like 3 years.
Oh yeah.
So it's nice to...
The real star of the deck is that it plays very similarly to the mono green aggro deck, except for that your trample creatures also have flying, and you get to play things like Duress in your sideboard. And I think that those two things make the mono black aggro deck a lot stronger than the mono green aggro deck.
Yeah, it's interesting. We do have a mono green aggro deck here, and all the removal is all fight based. It requires you to have a creature, and if anyone's played like green in draft, you know how like your removal can be a little weird. And we sort of have that in her deck as well. So it's really nice to see like a couple aggro decks here trying to get an edge on this meta that feels like a lot of the same old decks that we've been seeing for months.
Yeah, certainly. All right, well, let's go into our next match of the night.
And we have Mighty Linguini here with another Jund Sacrifice deck. She has a little bit of a different list here. And she's also very, very experienced with this deck. We played in like week 4 or something in the league, and she absolutely crushed me. I think this was right after the companion nerf, and I forgot to update my deck. So I'm sitting here with this like 80 card Yorion monstrosity, and she just wrecks me with it, and I'm like, wow, like Bolas's Citadel in this deck is really, really sweet.
Oh yeah, I've seen Bolas's Citadel cleanup games that your opponent is at like 20 life, and you're just like, oh, I have 10 permanents, you're dead. I think it's also an interesting decision and kind of a nice throwback to some of the early iterations of the Jund Sacrifice deck. We see Mighty Linguini playing the card Wicked Wolf, 2 copies of it, which I think is quite nice. I like Wicked Wolf a lot, and I think if we're expecting people to be playing aggro decks, Wicked Wolf is one of the best cards to be playing against more aggressive strategies that we could be seeing to combat some of these slower decks.
Yeah, of course. One thing that I noticed as well was the lack of priests of Forgotten Gods. And you noticed in the last match that Digitech was playing like a 2-2 split, and that they had, you'd mentioned that Priest had been a card that like you were surprised to see cut, but here we have Linguini just not playing it at all.
Yeah. I think that the necessity for Scavenging Ooze, I understand that if you're putting in Scavenging Ooze and you kind of need to, Priest probably has to be the first thing to go. I think that the Wicked Wolf, again, is better against the more aggressive style decks. And if you're planning to play against aggressive decks, Wicked Wolf is better. Priest of the Forgotten Gods is kind of worse because people are likely just going to be sacrificing their garbage 2-1 for 1 that they can bring back. And so
Yeah.
I like that I like this call of for Woe Strider, making sure that you have a Woe Strider that's a really reliable sacrifice outlet. Priest of the Forgotten Gods, I think, goes off because it's not always as reliable. It requires that you have 2 creatures to sacrifice, which sometimes doesn't always happen the way that you want it to. So I like the choice of the Woe Strider over it, and that's my thought process.
I mean, also you have to untap with the Priest.
Oh, yeah. That as well.
Sometimes that doesn't happen either.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're ready to go over to Nessa Meow Mow's list.
And twitch.tv/The Mighty Linguini. You can check out her stream. She streams, I think, 2 to 3 nights a week, typically. And here we've got a Sacrifice Mirror, but this one is Rakdos.
Yeah, I laughed when I pulled up this deck list because she just has please win .deck.
Yes. Yeah, Nessa titled this Please Win .deck. And that's how I feel anytime I submit a deck list ever.
So this looks like something like straight out of like 4 months ago.
Oh yeah, but I love it.
Yeah, there's only 2 new cards from M21. They're the 2 copies of Village Rites. And there's 2 copies of Judith too, which is interesting because it's something that I haven't seen in these Rakdos decks a lot of.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool because then you just have like 6 copies of Mayhem Devil.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
You're just like getting that extra value. Granted, Judith doesn't say like when any player sacrifices something. That's just when you sacrifice a creature or when a creature you control dies. But considering that most everything in Nessa's deck is a creature other than ways to kill creatures or steal creatures, I'm pretty okay with that. I think it will also be like really interesting to see how these match up, and I think that Judith and having those extra ways to deal and paying damage to the Mighty Linguini's creatures is going to be very important. And you can also watch Nessa at twitch.tv/Nessa Meow Meow. I think she streams every other night. She streams like a lot. I watch her stream all the time. She's super fun to watch and very charming.
Yeah, she's usually like pretty late at night too, I think.
Yeah. Which is nice for me because I'm a night owl, so.
Yeah, when I streamed, I used to end up like rating her. Cool. So we're going to be watching it from Mighty Linguini's side here. Nessa's going to be going first. And we have this. This is our 7 for Linguini. What do you think?
I quite like it, actually. It seems a little wonky. You don't really have a sacrifice outlet. Maybe you would want to mulligan to that, but you're also not on... Okay, maybe the more I look at it, your chances of drawing a sacrifice outlet are 8 of 53. Maybe I don't like it, but okay. I think it's one of those that's like really difficult to pick between because it's certainly like a good hand. You're seeing at least 2 types of cards that are going to be good against Nessa's deck. And cool, we drew one of our sacrifice outlets and everything's fine and dandy and we didn't need to worry about it ever anyway. You always have it.
Nice. And we see Nessa started out with a Witch's Oven into a Priest of Forgotten Gods. So kind of getting some things going there for Nessa.
That is a very good start for Nessa against the Mighty Linguini's slightly bigger deck. We do get to see the Mighty Linguini has their one of Murderous Rider in their hand to start out with, which is quite nice. It's nice when you get to see your one-ofs like that.
I would love to see her steal this Priest and then activate it.
Oh, that would be really nice. We don't have a ton of
I don't think that's going to happen.
Creatures, though, yeah. But we might just be able to steal it and throw it in an oven.
Yeah. Now, drawing that up in there is pretty nice.
I wonder how telling it could possibly be that Nessa just spent her turn moving Gigantha from the companion zone to her hand. Um, I wonder if that means that a lot of the things in her hand are reactive, or she just like doesn't want to give away what she has and is reading Mighty Linguini as having removal spells and is just like not wanting to throw one of her bigger, better creatures out into it. I think it'll be interesting to see how her hand plays out and kind of what that decision on that turn meant.
Yeah, we are going to see a Fabled Passage come down, getting a swamp, and see if she has to play this turn. She has a Call to Death Dweller, going to get back that priest, put a Menace and Death Touch counter on it, and pass.
That play makes me feel like she had nothing else to do, and that's why we took the Gigantha.
Yeah, that's...
Which, from Mighty Linguini's side, I would take as a let's go, all forces. Let's throw down. The Cauldron Familiar, a great draw for turn.
Cauldron Familiar, Mayhem Devil, able to just get a range going here.
Mm-hmm. Take out this Priest of the Forgotten Gods that Nessa Meow Meow just spent 3 mana to get back from the graveyard.
Yeah.
And we're thinking about doing it now, thinking about doing it later. Who knows? It looks like we're gonna wait until Nessa's turn to actually do anything about it.
Yeah, I guess it requires Nessa to tap her oven on this turn versus being able to untap with it last turn.
It looks like the Mighty Linguini is thinking about possibly killing the Woe Strider. Yeah. We see you're choosing to kill the Woe Strider with the goat token creation on the stack, or one or the other. We'll see which one she prioritizes more. It looks like it's going to be the priest. It could have been an interesting play to get 1 extra damage off if we let the goat resolve and see if Nessa chooses to activate the priest, sacrifice the cat. We already had a food in play. So it could have been an interesting choice to do that. Ooh.
Yeah, but the claim on the Mayhem Devil here is really nice. And we're going to see Linguini just jump here. Save those 3 damage. You can get the cat back.
Exactly.
And
I do think that in this matchup, your life total is very important. Because both of these decks we watched, especially in Digitech Wire's match, we watched them take Lady of the Crease from like 15 life to 0 in 1 turn. Both of these decks have some very explosive qualities with the correct cards in play. So I think we're going to see both players kind of really take into consideration their life totals throughout the match.
Yeah, so we see Nessa scry with Woe Strider twice, getting 2 pings off of the Mayhem Devil that she'd stolen. And here, Linguini is going to just steal the Woe Strider and draw another Mayhem Devil and play it.
Linguini's like, oh, I like that play that you made last turn. What if I copy it? I want to do something similar here.
No qualms about that. And choosing to use Woe Strider, or use the oven to sack the Woe Strider. Which I guess that's her only option, right? Because it says sack another. So
yeah.
But getting the food back, putting Nessa down to 7, and a claim on the Mayhem Devil again. Second Mayhem Devil.
Ooh. These are some fun claim the firstborn battles.
Yeah.
Oh, Siri, I don't want to talk to you. Thank you, Siri. I don't know what I said that Siri thought I was talking to her, but...
Jeez. Yep, so... Linguini's down to Mayhem Devil now. But she has a Murderous Rider that can clean up the Mayhem Devil from Nessa. Put her down to 13 after that. And attacking with the Cauldron Familiar. Nessa down to 6.
Nessa's dangerously low, but we're kind of running out of gas from the hand of Mighty Linguini.
Now, this has got 2 foods there, so 6 isn't as close to death as you might think. I'm going to just draw a second Woe Strider.
Woe Strider definitely not the worst thing to be playing when you have a few cards in hand. Definitely going to make sure that the top of your deck typically is stacked to what you want it to be. If you can't draw the cards you want, scrying the cards you want is the next best thing you could be doing.
Or, yeah, scrying the cards you don't want.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Nessa's going to take her turn just to gain 6 life off those foods.
That's a part of the deck that I feel like a lot of people tend to forget, is just like the life gain aspect of food and the ability to kind of be like, oh, I'm low, but I'm not really low. I've definitely spent entire turns gaining like 9 life back and kind of changing the swing of games because I've been able to gain a lot of life in one turn.
Yeah, you look at life as like something that, you look at a card like Healing Salve or like Light of Hope or whatever, and you're like, that card is bad, but here you're gaining life off of like an incidental thing. It's not, you're not putting the card in your deck to gain life, you're putting it in for a combo, but sometimes, you have to do the really inefficient thing of spend 4 mana, gain 6 life.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Woe Strider escaping. Nice 5/4 body there for Nessa. After finally finding a 5th land. And the Gweeny's going to scry in her upkeep. It's a land. Put that on the bottom. And we're going to take a draw. It's Witch's Oven. Witch's Ovens line up really well in plurals, unlike cats.
Oh yeah. I would rather have all 4 ovens in one cat than all 4 cats in one oven any day. 4 cats don't fit in one oven,
I'm not putting any of my cats in ovens. I don't know what you're doing, Becky.
I'm only putting my Cauldron Familiars in ovens. Okay. Well, occasionally some other creatures, but mostly Cauldron Familiars.
Not cats.
No real cats were harmed in the making of this production.
So we have I think it's a 3rd claim for Nessa, right?
Yeah. I believe Nessa's deck is playing 4 of them. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of them, but...
Oh no, Carolyn's playing 3, and Nessa's only playing... Oh, Nessa's playing 4, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
But that's still 7 copies between these 120 cards, and we've seen quite a lot of them. 5 out of 7.
That's a lot of firstborns.
Yeah. We're either talking to a lot of families or somebody's lying here.
So Nessa with that Village Rites.
I'm very excited about this card.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably one of my favorite cards that they printed from M21. Like, I was a big fan of, like, Altar's Reap previously, but, like, cool, make it cheaper? All right. Village Rites is sick. Love that card.
Yeah, I love playing it in a limited. Like, I never really... Altar's Reap always seemed weird, but, like, I look at the 1 mana and I'm like, wow, this is so, like, flexible. Mm-hmm. And you can just leave 1 mana up and suddenly you're, like, 3 for 1ing someone's removal spell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's amazing the difference between holding up 1 mana versus holding up 2 mana. You don't always think, ooh, there's the 6th copy of Claim the Firstborn.
That's her last copy?
Are we gonna keep it? No, please. Oh. Wait, okay, we could steal the Woe Strider. That's a 5/4.
Right? No.
I can't convince past Caroline to keep it. A few weeks ago, Caroline was commentating one of my matches, and she kept talking about like all these things that she wished that I did, and then she'd be like, "Okay, but we technically made the right play," and I was like, I'm starting to like relate to that feeling of like, I want her to do one thing, even if it's not the right thing. Do it for the gram, do it for the stream. Even though these are pre-recorded, do it for the stream.
Do it for chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we have a 5/4 Woe Strider on Caroline's side now. And a second cat for the turn was the draw. So might have preferred the claim, but
yeah. I definitely would have preferred the claim, but that's just me.
And she's going to pass. Nessa using her cat oven here.
Yeah, gonna do the cat thing.
And Linguini's... Yeah. She was thinking about doing something, but didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And Nessa here now... Who do you think's favorite at this point?
It's really starting to even up. That turn where Nessa was able to gain life back really put her into a position where she could kind of take control back of the game. It's certainly hard to tell who's in a better position right now. These Dreadhorde Butchers are looking a little sad because they just like can't really get through. We're kind of at a point where the Big Bad Wolf is outside both of their houses. They're both saying, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. And we're just waiting for one of them to actually blow someone's house down. It's like they're both one card away from taking over the game.
Is that a Big Bad Wicked Wolf?
Yeah, a Big Bad Wicked Wolf could certainly, like, coming down and taking care of the Ghost Rider on Nessa Meow Meow's side of the board could certainly turn the tides for Mighty Linguini.
For sure. So
we're saying no, don't want the land.
No. Of course not. And there's another land. So we have a Murderous Rider that we can finally play.
We have a lot of cards. There's
nothing else to do.
I love how Mighty Linguini and Nessa both have like all of these random cards in like alternate zones of the game. The Jund and Rakdos Sacrifice deck both play a lot with having cards in other areas and just being like, okay, well, I'll play something for here. You always kind of feel like you have something to do with this deck.
Yeah. And we have that last card in the hand for Nessa being that Gigantha that she put in her hand like 12 turns ago.
Yeah. On turn 3, it was like, I'm going to need this later.
And another oven for Nessa. So being able to keep pace with Linguini's 2 ovens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is they're both like a Mayhem Devil, Mighty Linguini, like Wicked Wolf, and then that's just going to take over the game completely for one of these players.
I mean, before that oven, if they kept drawing blanks, like Linguini would win. But the second oven just kind of...
That's going to bring back some life gain for Nessa. There's also the option at like multiple points in this game for Nessa to sacrifice the Dreadhorde Butchers and gain more food and just eat more food and go back to like a healthy life total again. Yeah, cats are bad in multiples. Throw that to the bottom.
On the bottom. And a Fabled Passage.
I feel like it's so sad because they're both so close to just like right now Mighty Linguini has more life, so she's certainly in a better spot. But Nessa also has got just like a really powerful board herself. And it's also just a situation where they're both so close from having a demanding position.
Right. And Linguini opting to use Fabled Passage and shuffle those scries back into the deck. So we might see that claim again.
Yes.
It's not on the bottom anymore. All right. Nessa doing her cat thing.
Do the cat thing.
I feel like something else here that is going on is I think Linguini has a little more ability to scry because she's, ahead in this race. So I feel like Nessa has to use her ovens to sack the cats, but I think Linguini can afford to do more scries here. But now we saw Nessa drew Castle Lockflame this turn, so that's something that can bust this game wide open.
That's
in addition to playing Gigantha, the largest creature on the board now, at 5/5.
Doesn't match up super well against the 5/4 Woe Strider as much as we would like it to, but we do see that Nessa's got 2 big 5-power creatures, which is not really something to scoff at. And here's a Wicked Wolf. Oh, he is not quite as big as Gigantha, though. Oh.
You check out the Woe Strider.
That's true. Which I imagine we will see this Wicked Wolf do here.
And it will get bigger than Gigantha.
That's true. All right. Whose house are we blowing down? Wolf Strider's house? Ooh, or a Dreadhorde Butcher? What are we doing?
Cauldron familiar.
Oh, my dog heard me talking. My dog heard me talking about the wolf, and he's like, "Hello, you called?
Aww.
Hello? Hi. I will pet you, yes."
Mhm.
We're really thinking about what we want to kill, but I've been saying that we kill this Woe Strider for a long time. Ooh, we're gonna go for a Dreadhorde Butcher? Okay. Alright.
So Nessa gonna scry.
I wonder
And it's
if
a bottom.
I wonder if the Mighty Linguini picked that just because she doesn't want to sacrifice her own food to make Wicked Wolf indestructible this turn, or she doesn't want to tap it.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I always forget that it taps to do that.
It gets so full and it ate so much food that it just is like, I'm done.
And it just fought something.
Yeah, exactly. But I think just the presence of this Wicked Wolf on the field and its ability to make itself indestructible is single-handedly going to just like throw a lot more power onto Caroline's side of the board.
Right. So Nessa doing some more cat things. And taps, draws. It's a Mayhem Devil.
Ooh, all right. What's stronger, a Wicked Wolf or a Mayhem Devil?
A Mayhem Devil.
The Mayhem Devil, certainly, especially when the Jund Sacrifice deck also revolves around sacrificing things. I think I might say that the Mayhem Devil is much stronger.
Yeah, the Mayhem Devil on the stack here is prompting Linguini to just do all her stuff now. Because it's one thing Mayhem Devil's really good at is punishing your opponent for playing sacrifice things.
Oh, yeah.
If you've ever had a Fabled Passage, it just feels bad. And this is that times 10.
Yeah. I remember my first interaction with Mayhem Devil saying, but whenever a player sacrifices, I was playing a PTQ and I was playing Sultai Sacrifice with like Oko and stuff. Like this was the week before Oko got banned, or like the day before Oko got banned, realistically. And I'm in the finals and I play against a Jund Sacrifice deck and I'm like, there's no way that their deck is better than my deck. My deck has Oko in it. And then they played a Mayhem Devil. I wasn't able to answer it immediately. And I sacrificed something and they were like, oh, I'll deal 1 to you. And I was like, what? And then they were like, yeah, my Mayhem Devil says whenever a player sacrifices something.
No.
And I was like, oh no.
Oko. Oh no.
I was like, I need an Oko to turn it into an elk, but I didn't have one. And then I got beaten by Mayhem Devil, and I was like, maybe your deck is better in the mirror, just by a little bit.
So we have Linguini drawing just a Fabled Passage this turn, which is not what she would have hoped.
You can't even play the Fabled Passage because you'll take 1 damage from the Mayhem Devil.
Oh, it's interesting here.
But
last turn when that Mayhem Devil was on the stack, Linguini opted to not bring those 2 cats back and just left the 2 foods there.
I think, again, the Wicked Wolf is going to kind of require some amount of food to keep itself alive against, like, the Mayhem Devil if...
Well, I think that food's going to need...
Yeah.
I think that food's going to be there to keep Linguini alive.
Yeah, it's got a different purpose now.
Because Nessa just drew a 3rd oven with the Mayhem Devil is probably...
We can live with the food that we have in play and the ovens that we have open, but they're also only healing us for 2 because every time we eat a food... I would hover the concede button too.
I'm done. You drew your Mayhem Devil first, you win.
Yep. Ultimately, that's what it came down to.
The sideboarding here, we have some interesting options. We have 3 red cap melees, which went right in the deck. We also have
You
2
gotta
more
have an answer to the
cultists we're
Mayhem
thinking
Devil.
about. Yeah, the Bolas' Citadels are cut. And we brought in a couple eliminates as well.
Yeah, we imagine that Nessa's also going to be bringing in a bunch of removal. So if you don't have things that are going to be sitting in play, then Bolas' Citadel just isn't a good enough card. Trail of
Right.
Crumbs, kind of bad in multiples, so we don't really need more of that. And I think cutting a Mayhem Devil is an interesting choice that I don't really agree with, but I think I would rather cut a cat than a Mayhem Devil, personally. But
Yeah, I've definitely cut cats in these matchups before.
we'll trust Caroline. She's played a lot of
yeah.
this deck.
And out of Nessa's sideboard, she has 3 Riding Regisaurs, 2 Midnight Reapers, an Act of Treason, 2 Ember Shieldbreakers,
I
and a
might
Soul
bring in
Guide
that Act of
Lantern.
Treason and try to steal a Corvold.
Oh,
That might just be me being really hopeful saying that, but that's what I would do.
I totally would too. I am all about that.
Especially if you can like steal a Corvold and then sacrifice a bunch of things on your side of the board and you draw a bunch of that just sounds like perfect.
Linguini not being punished for siding out a Mayhem Devil, having 2 in her
drawing
6
2
here.
and putting 1 into
So yeah,
right.
and
putting 1
Nessa looked like she kept her 7,
Mm-hmm.
and we done a Blood Crypt with an oven. So really good start for Nessa here.
Yeah. But Scavenging Ooze is going to try and say this is why green is in the deck, and hopefully we can answer some things that you're trying to do with... Oh, never mind. Just kidding. Well, we have another one. It's okay.
Take 2 and make a food.
Man, Claim the Firstborn is such a sick
Does she have
card.
a land?
I mean, I'd hope so. Yeah, okay.
So excited to get that ooze off the table.
I mean, I would be too.
And Linguini does not have a land, unfortunately. So just playing a second ooze on turn 3. Nesta with a Cauldron Familiar, and we see that Castle Lockplane again.
Mm-hmm. Gonna do the cat thing while Linguini doesn't have a green to try and contest us.
Right.
We had an extra food though, so it was never gonna be a real concern. Ooh.
There's a Soul Guide Lantern saying, "You're not gonna eat that ooze. I am."
Yeah. Soul Guide Lantern is also the Black-Red's way of trying to do close to what the Scavenging Ooze is doing.
It's very, very awkward at it.
Yeah, it's certainly not as good as Scavenging Ooze, but beggars can't be choosers when you're taking an entire color out of your deck.
And Grafter's Cage isn't an option here, just because you don't want to shut your deck off too.
Yep.
So we have a Low Strider off of a 3rd land from Linguini, and Nessa has a Low Strider of her own.
Mm-hmm. And is continuing to make land drops. Important.
Yeah. Cat coming back.
Cat. The cat returns. Continuing to play on our turn. I think once you hit like 5 or 6 lands with each of these decks, that's like as many lands as you want to see to be able to do as many things as possible during each of your turns. Possibly more with Caroline's deck, because you also typically want to be having a Trail of Crumbs and be doing Trail of Crumbs things.
Right. Although with that Castle Lockplane, Nessa might want to see a couple more lands, but if you draw like 4 lands in a row with Castle Lockplane, it really hurts.
Oh yeah.
So
because then you're taking an increasing amount of damage and you can't quite keep up with how many lands you're drawing. Yep.
All right, so Caroline's got a Murderous Rider here, which I think we're just might see. No.
We have a lot of decisions this turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mayhem Devil is probably the correct choice. Again, force your opponent to take actions with it on the stack, because that ability is just so oppressive.
Right, and it's kind of like a soft hate piece here, because you... All right, I'm thinking about this backwards, right? Wait. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, like if you play it disincentivizes your opponent to actually do things. They can.
Yes.
They can do the things, but it's gonna hurt them a lot if they do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like Nessa could work on doing cat things now, but doing cat things is going to result in the Woe Strider dying and her taking a lot more damage as well.
Right, at 23-9, I mean,
ooh, we found the engine.
It could happen, but the cat, finding the cat for Linguini is the missing piece that she needed.
Yeah, now we just need a trail, and then we've got the real big engine.
Yeah, not having enough mana to really activate Ooze, Linguini's just going to sack into the Woe Strider to get rid of the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And oops. What's the oops?
I think I would probably oops feeling a little bit awkward about having to sacrifice Scavenging Ooze, which is one of the better cards in the matchup.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it's the wrong play, but I do think that it likely feels a little awkward.
Yeah, she's still behind on mana, and on top of that, only one of them is green.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have dueling Mayhem Devils.
But Nessa has more life, so I'm inclined to say that Linguini is a little behind in this situation.
And she has more things, so she can get this Woe Strider off the table while guaranteeing that there aren't enough sacks to kill her own Mayhem Devil.
Mm-hmm. Linguini does have a red cap melee in hand, though, so once we go back to Linguini's turn, the other Mayhem Devil will cease to exist.
Mm-hmm. And Soulguide Lantern sacking to draw a card, I believe?
Mm-hmm. I believe that's what it was. Maybe not, though. I can't. Nope, just to exile the graveyard.
So it gets rid of that Woe Strider.
Mm-hmm. No escape for you.
No. So, I mean, yeah, Red Cap Melee, Witch's Oven, Cauldron Familiar, just putting Linguini right back in this game.
Yeah. 3 great 1-mana spells, one after the other. Let's get back in here.
And Nessa's hellbent.
Mm-hmm.
She's got that Gigantha in exile and the
Cauldron Familiar and Woe Strider in the
not
graveyard.
even in exile, like not even in
not the even companion
in
zone.
Yeah. It's outside the game.
It's in the command zone.
Right. Something like that. I don't know.
I always have called it the command zone kind of as a meme.
It's the command zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And Nessa not really able to do a whole lot.
Right.
In the face of this Mayhem Devil.
Another Castle Lochthwain, not the best, but choosing to activate it and try to get something that she can do. And nothing.
Ugh. This is definitely kind of like a heartbreak situation to be watching from Nessa's side. I think that she went from being in like a really good position and Mighty Linguini mulling into maybe having a few too many lands for her specific deck. And Linguini's Mayhem Devil is the one that's stuck. And that's what you need to have happen in this mirror, is have the commanding Mayhem Devil. Alright, and it looks like we're deciding that blocking with the cat is saving us slightly more life than not bringing it back.
Yeah, it saves a damage.
A point of damage, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're sacrificing it. Yeah, it saves you one. And not really even one, because if you want to bring it back, you're losing it again. Ugh. It just feels so bad to have basically be like playing the same deck.
It's like
it's alone.
You're like loaning a life there.
Yeah, I'm loaning my life away.
I mean, I've done that and it doesn't feel good. Fabled Passage, the draw for Nessa. Not the land you want to see against a hand.
Yeah. I would like to not see any lands at this point in the game.
Judith.
I would like for Judith to be good right now, but it really isn't.
No.
Let's see. You could deal 2 damage.
Mhm. Well,
Not enough to kill Mayhem Devil.
no, Nessa can't block. Wait, is it other creatures? When
Yeah,
other
it's
creatures
other
are,
creatures.
this trigger on herself.
Oh, Judith does trigger on herself. So
Yeah.
you could kill the Mayhem Devil. But
Well,
it looks like
Judith is just gonna die.
yeah.
So
I mean, we
guess
could
you
do it
can.
in response. We will lose a lot of life. Likely going to almost dead, but we are likely going to be able to kill the Mayhem Devil here if Nessa, I believe Nessa sees it.
Right. Bringing the cat back.
And sacrificing the cat and Judith
Yeah.
die. Ugh.
This is rough, but
It's so rough.
definitely an interesting line here from Nessa.
Oh, Judith is going face and not trying to kill the Mayhem Devil.
Wow.
Nessa, do you see something I don't? I don't think that we can afford to let this Mayhem Devil live, but okay. Yeah, all right. Nessa's just choosing to have Judith's damage go face.
So
Yeah.
brings Linguini down to 5.
I'm scared that we do not have the life to be letting this Mayhem Devil live. Like, yes, it's bringing Linguini down to 5, but
It's gonna be 7-5 after, or 6-5 after this, I believe.
Yeah. And I still just don't feel like it's enough.
Yeah. Or 6-6. Yeah.
This is game 2. So the first game went to Nessu Meow Meow. And we are currently in game 2. They're tied at 6 and 6 life. It is a very stressful point in this match. We are struggling to figure out who is in a better position currently. I think we're both kind of agreeing that the damage from Judith and the cat should have gone into killing the Mayhem Devil instead of going face on Nessa's side. Linguini is at a very low life total, so it does make sense that was like a tempting direction to go, but it's scary how Mayhem Devil's just a scary thing to let live when both of your decks are constantly sacrificing things. And another land for Nessa. No.
Linguini opting not to play the Murderous Rider. And Nessa drawing a blank there and realizing she's just dead. So game 3 here. And it doesn't look like there's any sideboard changes. They went right into it.
Mm-hmm. I like the decisions that they made.
Yeah.
Are you excited for this game 3? I don't know if you could hear him panting. He was right by my mic, so I figured.
I totally heard him panting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come here, bud.
So, or Nessa's thinking about sideboarding. She hasn't submitted yet. But while we're waiting, definitely want to tell y'all to check out cardmarket.com. #1 place for Magic Single sealed product supplies and all of their TCG needs. So definitely check them out. They sponsored us this season and last season. And here we are in game 3.
All right, tense game 3. What?
This is a hand, but no green, and she's got to throw it back. Oh no!
All right,
down to 5
for
Caroline.
It's still a little scary. All right, yeah, throw a land back. Throwing Skoos back. All right.
Draw, so
interesting choice.
That's an extra card.
Good draw. Goose is a great draw.
Yeah, the goose is loose.
Yes, there is a Wicked Wolf.
Nessa starting with a Castle Lockflame and a Mountain Priest of Forgotten Gods.
Priest getting around the ability of indestructibility for Wicked Wolf, should it be the only thing in play.
Yeah. And Dread Horde Butcher here.
Dread Horde Butcher lines up kind of poorly against Gilded Goose, sadly.
Yeah. So attacking Bringing Linguini down to 17. Makes food passes. Mayhem Devil, the draw.
Caroline, teach me your ways of how to draw.
So,
yes,
she's gonna play Wicked Wolf here and probably fight the priest, I imagine, or the butcher. One of the two.
Butcher might be a little scarier, but if you don't have to sacrifice a food to make it indestructible, yeah, we're just gonna get rid of priest.
Yeah.
And then we've got the big bad wolf in play. I don't know if you can also hear my dog squeaking behind me.
I don't hear it.
Okay, good.
No.
I was like, hopefully he's too far away and that isn't like really obnoxious. He's very excited about Wicked Wolf.
My cats are very quiet. They're all in here, but one cat came up and like clawed at my chair for a minute, but that's it.
All right, and we'll see if our previous statements stay the same. Is the first Mayhem Devil to stick the most important one? Like it.
Nessa missed her land drop on turn 3.
Oh, yes.
That's not good.
Not good for Nessa at all. Considering that everything in the deck costs 2 or 1, I could understand why like that is something that you would want to keep. But even if you miss a land drop and don't play anything, that's definitely surprising.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, having priest kind of helps, but, to said she didn't have the priest last turn, so maybe she didn't even have, like, the 2 creatures to sack for it, or whatever, and it looks like Linguini's just running away with this.
Linguini is just drawing every card,
Yeah.
If we draw an oven next turn, I'm just convinced that Caroline is the greatest drawer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You always see what you need, even if you mold a 5. Definitely a Tron player. You can tell right now. Always draws what she needs. All right, keeping these geese. We've decided that we like the geese. We like things that make food for our Wicked Wolf.
Yeah, or for our
good friends.
For our cat Woe Strider combo too, and Mayhem Devil.
It's not Tron beats if I'm also a Tron player. I know what it's like to draw. I know what it's like to draw the perfect thing as well. But,
so
take the 3rd game for Caroline. Sorry, I keep getting you off.
Oh, it's okay. Whatever. It's hard to read body language when we're on this. It's something I noticed. Someone talking about on Twitter was like, it was Emma Handy. She was saying how casting when you're online, you don't have like visual cues to like read off your partner. Yeah. So I can't look at you and be like, "Are you done?" You don't have like a thing. It was like, you look like you're going to stop talking, and here we have a dog.
Yeah, sorry.
You really also don't have dogs.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you're on cam, so the people must see me." Yeah, this is my dog Apollo. He's saying hello. He was very hyped after that game. He really likes the card Wicked Wolf.
Of course.
Like it's
we all do.
I have it so that it blurs my background and it can't decide that he's not background.
Oh, I didn't blur my background.
I should have not, so we could have had dog cam.
Yeah, if my cats show up, then they're not gonna be blurry at all. So, yeah, that is our 2 matches of the quarterfinals. So we have the full results, I believe.
Yes. So now
we are. So we have on the top of the bracket, we have Lady of the Crease is going to be facing off against Jenna Amari-chan.
Jenna Amari-chan taking down last season's champion High Banana Fish.
Yeah, and High Banana Fish one who took me out of the playoffs, so it's kind of. I feel like I got a little bit of vengeance here.
And then our next semifinals match is Tanya the Bloodsower against the Mighty Linguini, who we just saw take out Nessa Meow Meow. And,
and we have, and for the matchups, just I'm not sure which one we're watching.
Lady of the Crease first.
Okay. Cool. And then yeah, we have Mono Black is going to be facing off against Teamer Rack for Janna. And the bottom of the bracket was
Jund's Sacrifice against Bant, I believe, is what Tanya registered.
Yes.
Oh, Tanya.
Teamer,
It's either
yeah.
Bant or Teamer Rack.
So our Monterey aggro deck is out, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we do see both of our Teamer Reclamation decks going into semi-finals.
Yeah.
So we are taking a look at Jaina Amari-san's deck. Seems like a pretty standard Teamer Reclamation deck, but we do see that she has chosen to play both Spectral Sailor and Nightpack Ambusher in the main deck, which I feel are kind of different to what we typically see from Teamer Reclamation decks. The big difference between Jaina Amari-chan's deck and I believe Tanya's deck is that Tanya is playing 4 Storm's Wrath main, which we see Jaina Amari-chan only playing 2, and they're in the sideboard.
Yeah, I noticed that difference too when I was looking over the list, and the numbers here are kind of like, weird. There's like 3 sailors, 1 borrower, 2 ambushers, 3 oros. I'm sure there's a reason for those numbers, but it's something that when you look at the list, you're like, what are what, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, I imagine that, especially looking at Janna knew that she was going to be playing against High Banana Fish, who she got to play in the wild card round last week. So I imagine a lot of decisions about the deck that she picked were specifically going against that matchup. If you're going to pick to metagame against any matchup, it's going to be the one that you know about. And so I imagine that she just looked at what High Banana Fish played last time. And knowing that High Banana Fish is kind of a formidable opponent in the champion from last season, you're trying to really beat her specifically. And I think that a lot of the decisions that were made in some of these cards kind of explain that thought process.
Not only that, but High Banana Fish won the championship with a Teamer Rec deck that did have a main deck creature package. So it is kind of it's a little ironic to see her lose here to that. And, if you do want to follow Janna, you can follow her on twitch.tv/Janna Amari. I don't know her streaming schedule, but she also cosplays. So she has a really good Elspeth cosplay she had on Twitter too. So definitely, check that out. She's on Twitter too. But she's great.
Right, and let's check out what Janna Amari is playing against. We have
Lady
of the Crease.
Mono Black.
I just love this deck. I don't know.
I know.
It's an aggro deck that's also playing an aura. So I don't know, the beginning Magic player / limited Magic player in me is just this deck is great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do notice that Janna is playing 2 Blast Zone, so maybe that comes into play here. She's also playing 4 Mystical Disputes and an Aether Gust Rain, so.
Yeah, so those are going to be
those are not coming into play.
Yeah, those are going to be coming out after game 1 and are going to be hopefully not too hindering in this first game.
Yeah, how do you think that? How do you feel about this matchup? How do you think this is going to go? Who's favored?
I think that Lady of the Crease has picked this deck because it's going to be very good against things like Teamer Reclamation. So I'm inclined to say that Lady is definitely favored, and looking at the sideboard between Duress and possibly Noxious Grasp are going to be good answers to all the creatures that Janna could possibly try to throw in the way of Lady of the Crease's deck. So I'm kind of inclined to say that Lady of the Crease's typically, if you're looking at a control deck versus an aggro deck, you want to say that the aggro deck is typically favored based on the magical triangle that is Magic decks. So by that thought process, I'm inclined to say that I think Lady of the Crease is favored, but the only way to find out is by going into the match.
All right. And here we are watching Janna's side here. And I think that's a reasonable hand.
Certainly a reasonable hand. It's a little sad to be seeing the Mystical Dispute in hand, but it's at worst a 3-mana counter your 3-mana play. We see Lady of the Crease mulliganing, but let's get this underway.
Yeah, and we have a Growth Spiral too here, which is always nice to have on turn 2, especially when you're on the play.
Mm-hmm. And then
Gutter Bones will play for Lady. Yeah.
negate. Likely the only thing that it's going to be saying no to is an eliminate or a demonic embrace. Not really going to be able to interact with the strong number of creatures from Lady of the Crease's deck.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And Lady plays a knight. Not really able to use both of her mana this turn.
Mm-hmm. But making sure that we're going to end step before playing that growth spiral, just in case we have to pretend like we can interact with something else, though we know that we can't.
Right. Jana choosing which land to play here. She does have the Ambusher, able to come down next turn.
The Ambusher likely can throw itself in the way of one of these other creatures, but
not that one.
Not that one, but we also have a lot of ways to say no to this, which is fairly nice, though we also know that Demonic Embrace is not the easiest thing to counter because we can just try and play it again the next turn.
She's thinking she's going to make it resolve. I think maybe the Blast Zone in hand is...
The Blast Zone in hand is plenty of reasons to kind of let that go through. I think we see Jana Amari choosing to hopefully play the Night Pack Ambusher this turn, try and get that engine going, and then react to everything else that could possibly come after it.
Yeah, heads up play it by Lady by not attacking with the Gutterbones into the Ambusher.
Yeah, these are open deck lists, so they are able to see each other's decks and kind of make decisions based on that.
Oh, she hasn't submitted the attacks yet, so maybe she's thinking about it.
Okay.
And she ends up not attacking with it. Cool. So we're going to take 4 from the Knight. It's going to get a counter at the end of the turn, and I'm going to fetch with the Fabled Passage and play this Ambusher.
Big old the second big old wolf of the night gonna come down. Claim some turf.
Yeah.
We'll see if we decide to play. I imagine we're just gonna throw this Blast Zone down and be like, this is my plan, this is what I'm working with. And I imagine we're just gonna try and not play the Uro so that we can start making some baby wolves.
Yeah, I think she was doing the math to see if she could play Uro and crack Blast Zone or not. And turns out I don't think you can.
In the
or she needs to draw a land, I think. She'd have to hit a land off Uro.
She has a land in hand, so no, you wouldn't have enough mana to play Uro and
right. Yeah. Oh.
Not quite. You're one off.
All right, here comes the Knight, and here comes the Blast Zone.
Yeah, we saw Lady go ahead and block with the Gutterbones last turn. When you can see the Blast Zone in play, no point in keeping a 1-mana creature on the board.
Yeah, I guess, there's an argument to be made to not play it first and wait. See if Lady takes the forward.
It's certainly true, and we see this turn was spent eliminating the Baby Wolf token, only for Jana to go to her turn and make another one.
And Jana's holding 2 counterspells here, being able to answer basically anything that a Lady would present. Whether it be an answer to the wolf or, like we saw, a creature. 3 mana countering a 2 mana spell isn't really what you want, but when you have twice the mana of your opponent, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, you take what you can get, for sure.
And Expansion, this Explosion, the draw here, just kind of sealing the deal here for Jana.
Going to be a lot of mana, but also likely to answer any of these smaller things coming out of Lady of the Crease's deck. Yeah,
just 2 to the Knight, and if there's no removal spell, Jana's got this. Or there could be a Blacklands Paragon. But we have an Eliminate, taking out a wolf token.
This will be putting us to 2 on Lady of the Crease's side. Certainly not a great position, but a position to be in that isn't dead.
Wilderness Reclamation to draw. I don't know if you even play anything this turn. Just get another wolf token.
Just get another lethal attacker, even if the Night Pack Ambusher were to leave play. Lady's had enough.
So Jana is up 1-0 here.
Now going into this next game, I feel like Jana is very favored. Jana gets to literally do the infamous take all the bad cards out of your deck, put in all the good cards. Jana kind of taking down the difficult game of this matchup,
Game one,
to be honest. Yeah. I feel like that was the game that she needed to win, and she did so pretty swiftly off the back of Nightpack Ambusher. But we see the Nightpack Ambusher coming out of her deck for this game.
Yeah, against, there's Grasp of Darkness, Heartless Act, Noxious Grasp coming in. Like, maybe she just doesn't want to play on that axis. And just choosing to bring in all of her red cards, which are all burn cards, 3 Scorching Dragonfires, 2 Bonecrusher Giants, a Flame Sweep, and 2 Stormwraths. So able to kind of focus more on controlling what Lady's doing versus, applying her own threats.
Jana has got some bold moves keeping this 2-land hand, one of them being a Fabled Passage. I don't know if I would have done that personally, but we see she must be very comfortable with her deck and this decision to have kept it.
Yeah, I think maybe the fact that she does have some reasonable interaction here,
even if it's cheaper.
Yeah. Like, you play tap land, you play the tap land, you can play the Sailor on turn 2, and then you untap, and now you have Scorching Dragonfire, or Brazen Borrower, or Growth Spiral. If you draw another land to put out, that can catch you up on this, on the tempo.
We also saw her skillfully drawing the Ketria Triome, so...
Right.
Really, in the end, all of my concerns don't really matter, because everyone draws perfectly when they're on stream. Until they don't. Until somebody draws perfect and somebody draws all lands, and that's just big Reggie boy.
Probably gonna go back to hand.
Yeah, I don't think you want that to stay on the field, so I imagine that is certainly going to be the decision after, of course, making Lady of the Crease discard a card.
Yeah, we saw Jana set that trigger. Oh, okay. Deciding whether she wanted to do it then. And I guess maybe you think Lady's going to throw a Demonic Embrace on there and try to get in for 10, and then...
Yeah, that's totally possible.
That tempo. There's only one Brazen Borrower, so that could be a reasonable line from Lady. It already dodges all of the red removal to begin with, so...
Lady choosing, instead of replaying the Rotting Register, to just cast the Duress as her only spell for turn, thinking that it is now likely late enough in the game where we can get some more premium cards out of Jana Mari's hand.
Yeah, it's turn 4. It's right before turn 4, so able to snag that Wilderness Reclamation.
Are taking a huge downswing on tempo by doing that, though, which is... I've struggled to think if that's possibly going to be a pivotal turn. Instead of replaying your 7-power thing, you chose to get rid of Wilderness Reclamation, and is that really better than being able to swing for 7 the next turn?
Well, there's no copies of Farrakhan's Libation, so there's no way for Lady to deal with it if it gets on the battlefield. So, maybe it's worth it to take the key card out of your opponent's deck, even if it costs you your entire 3rd turn. Or 4th turn, I should say.
4th turn and 7 damage.
Yeah.
I'm just a big fan of dealing damage, I guess.
That's how you win most of the time. So, don't blame you. And choosing to this Brazen Borrower come down and start applying some pressure. And or a flying blocker in case Demonic Embrace rears its head. Its devilish head.
Swinging in with the Brazen Borrower. And playing a Steam Vents tapped.
I mean, imagine we're going to see the Sailor come down and draw a card.
We discarded a Spawn of Mayhem off of the Rotting Regisaur. Interesting.
Yeah, if your whole hand is bangers, you got to discard one of them.
Spectral Sailor That's true. Spectral Sailor playing the role of 5 mana, draw a card, gain 7 life.
Yeah, and we see another Spawn of Mayhem come down, paying the full 4 mana because of that chump block.
4 mana flying trample 4/4 still isn't too bad.
Janna getting in here, getting frisky with this borrower.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's going to die after combat, regardless. So might as well get your damage in if you can. And I guess we're going to see Storm's Wrath plus Dragonfire clear up this board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lady of the Crease, knowing about the Storm's Wrath, but not knowing about the Scorching Dragonfire. And playing a Castle Vantress. So now we will be able to start fixing the top of our deck should we not draw anything off of the top. But
there's another Spawn of Mayhem. Like I said, if it's all bangers.
If it's all bangers, aka all Spawn of Mayhems.
But this Shark Typhoon able to...
what's bigger than a big ol' flying trample demon? A flying shark.
Do.
Shark Typhoon. We just made Shark Typhoon's theme song.
That did not go over as smoothly as I thought. So 6/6 Shark. And we see a Chimera and a Gutterbones. And a Gutterbones going back to the hand. The Catcher Triumph for Janna. And a Flame Sweep, which is able to clear up this board.
Yeah.
Because of the way Devotion works.
Yeah, all of the toughness Devotion creatures feel a bit mopey to me personally.
Yeah.
For this exact reason.
They aren't as tough as you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Duress being the play, which just kind of forces the Flame Sweep out of the hand for Janna cleaning up that board, and Bonecrusher Giant being a creature.
Yeah, getting around the idea of Duress very nicely.
Mm-hmm. Even though it's still a spell. And we're going to go Stomp Face here.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Bold move to Stomp Face. Yeah, that's fair. If we're at 17 life and all that Lady of the Crease has happening is some Gutter Bones in play and in the graveyard, might as well.
Like you said, you like damage.
I like damage. Let's go face.
So yeah, Bonecrusher Giant, Wilderness Wreck. Janna's got everything here. Don't think there's a draw that Lady can have that pulls her out of this.
I don't.
Like a flyer can block and she'll be able to block for a turn?
An Eliminate would be able to get rid of the Shark token, and then we would be able to block the Bonecrusher Giant, but it is certainly not a great position either way.
Yeah. An aggressive attack here for a Lady.
Aggressive attack to be able to get Gutterbones back, but Gutterbones does enter the battlefield tapped, so it is not able to block. I can't imagine what Lady possibly has.
I feel like her line is the old disconnect.
Yep. I might as well attack if I'm dead anyway.
Yeah.
Ceremoniously go. Ooh, the Blacklands Paragon.
But that's not enough, right?
Don't quite gain enough life to stay alive.
We trade with the Bonecrusher, but we're still at -1 from the Shark. So congratulations to Janna for being our first finalist.
Congratulations indeed to Janna Amari. Good games indeed. All right. Do we get to look at our finals? All right.
Okay.
We're going to take... Yeah. All right. We're going to be taking a short break before we go into our finals. Take some time to... Oh, semifinal. We're watching the other semifinals. Okay, cool. We are going to be watching Tanya the Blood Swords match versus the Mighty Linguini. Sorry. I was told... Sorry, I thought we were only watching...
Apologize for that. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Totally fine. So we will be watching Tiny of the Bloodsores match versus the Mighty Linguini.
All right. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah. We will be right back momentarily. We will also be preparing to do a short interview with Jana Amari.
cool.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We will be right with you in about a minute, very shortly. Thank you all so much for being patient with us. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We are here with Jana Amari. We will be doing a kind of short 4-question interview with her, talking about her experience on the VML and throughout the course of this tournament. If you want to start off asking the first question, Anna.
Yeah. Yeah. This is your first season here. What was your favorite part of being part of the VML?
I was so excited to play it. I mean, we have amazing people in the league, and it was just nice. It was something to look forward to in Magic while all, the Magic Fests are not available because of the virus. So it was a nice way to get together and enjoy some competitive Magic every week. So it was super exciting for me to play, and I think every week was something to look forward to.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite play or a favorite match that you had over the course of this season of the VML?
No, not in particular, but I think my favorite was sort of the research component. I loved looking at everyone's history to try to metagame and, pick a deck and then get friends outside of the league, practice my VML match. So that was sort of my favorite part, I think. Even though it's slightly evil to do.
No, I mean, we gave you the resources to do that so that you could do that. So I would not by any means.
Yeah, I mean, it worked really well for you.
Fun, yeah.
You made it to the finals. Congratulations for getting to the finals.
Thank you.
So, you stream a lot, right?
Yes.
And you do cosplay too. What made you interested in all of that? How did you get started?
Right. Well, I was doing cosplay for a while, just being, a nerdy sort of gamer. I loved, the characters and dressing up. And, before Rona times, it was nice to go to conventions and connect to people that you liked. But as time went on, I had different priorities. I discovered Magic, and it was really, really fun to play. So I sort of switched over from doing cosplay on the side to being more involved in the Magic community and the game, since I really, really enjoy it. So that's sort of where I am now.
Did you start on Arena?
Yes, I did start an arena. So before, someone outside to the game, Magic seemed sort of overwhelming with different cards. It can get really, really expensive. So arena was a really nice way for new people to get into the game. And now I am spending a bunch of money in arena. So
yeah, I
didn't save money at all.
I totally get it. I've been playing since 1995. So I've had a lot of cards and sold them and bought them, and it's just a weird roller coaster. So
yes. So having the game online definitely, as someone shy to go to the FNMs as well, it was a nice way to play the game and really get familiar with it and get addicted. So
awesome.
Cool. Do you have another question, Becky?
What would you say to somebody who wants to join the next season of VML?
I think that I joined the VML because as a female, it's often hard to go be competitive in the game due to a lot of different barriers. So I wanted to compete in a setting where it's very, very welcoming to females and also non-binary people. So if you enjoy competition, but somehow you're nervous to play in a more open format, I think this is a really good way, as everyone's super helpful, like talking to each other every week to talk about decks or even strategies was a lot of fun. So it's a lot of great, healthy competition that I think the community really needed. So I think that if you would like to join, it's definitely a great way to start being competitive or just practice being more competitive in the scene.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you so much for joining us and doing this small interview.
Yeah.
I have one more question.
Okay, yeah.
How do you eat your Kit Kats?
Oh my gosh. Okay, break them and eat the pieces individually. There's no question about it.
Which way do you break them?
By the group.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, no question. I don't make up the rules. That's just how they work. All right.
If Caroline makes it to the finals, you are going to be fighting for the best way to get that.
So it's the battle
that's the rivalry there. So, I'm hoping to crush other, weird Kit Kat eating people. I'm kidding. Caroline's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much
for joining us. Yeah. Good job on the coverage, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Bye.
And if any of you are interested in finding her, she is twitch.tv/Jana Amari. I will be throwing her a link to find her in the chat. She's also been kind of active in the chat as well. So you'll be able to maybe ask her some extra questions in there if you're interested, or go follow her channel and ask her on her own stream and interact with her there.
Yeah, and if you're interested in joining our next season as well, you can type !join VML in the chat. The links to our Discord and Twitter and our website. So I'm not sure we've announced when it's going to happen, but
considering that there is not a lot of big
coming up soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a matter of just figuring out. We haven't figured out all of the details yet, but definitely gonna have a third season. The first two have been fantastic.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's get into our other semifinals match. We have the Mighty Linguini versus Tanya the Bloodsore.
This is Linguini's match from, the same deck that we looked at before. It's the Jund Food, but a little bit different than what we saw with Digitech.
Mm-hmm.
There's no priests, 4 Woe Riders, the 1 Murder Strider in the main.
Bolas' Citadels.
That's the deck. How do you think this lines up against Teamer Rec?
Teamer, previously I've interviewed Mighty Linguini for a match that was, she wasn't playing against Teamer Reclamation, but I did ask what she was afraid to play against as the Jund Sacrifice deck, and she did say Teamer Reclamation is the enemy, and I think that that's still the case now. It is kind of a difficult deck for her to interact with, and I think that it is certainly the deck to beat and will be kind of an uphill battle for the Mighty Linguini.
Okay. And you can check her out on Twitch at the Mighty Linguini.
Yep. And here is Tanya's deck. A little bit of a different take on Temur Reclamation from what we saw Jana Amari play. As I mentioned before, Tanya is playing 4 copies of Storm's Wrath in the main board.
Yeah, this feels like more of like the classic Temur Rec list. Like when it first happened, it was much more of like this like ramp / control strategy. Mm-hmm. With the Storm's Wrath. We're not seeing any like Dragonfires in the main here, but Shark Typhoon kind of seems to like have generally replaced that in like functionality. You can make a cheap creature to block, or you have a late game threat. But like,
and you don't need as much spot removal if you're playing 4 board-wide removal spells.
Yeah, so what do you feel about like this deck and her choices here? She's not running any of those flash creatures. Just 3 Auros for the creature package main.
I think that Tanya's deck, again, you said it, is a little more stock. So it's interesting to see the difference in the lack of creatures. But I do think that I like this more streamlined expansion explosion game plan a bit more than the added flash creature package, personally. Mm-hmm. It's definitely staying a little more pure to the original thought of the Wilderness Reclamation deck, though I do worry that for Tanya in this matchup against Jund Sacrifice, maybe not having those extra creatures and extra forms of interaction might be a little bit of a difficult thing to deal with all of the axes that the Jund Sacrifice decks work on.
Yeah, fair. Cool. And, follow her on Twitter at @TheBloodSour.
And ready to get into this
find out more
match?
About her. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go. We will be watching again from the Mighty Linguini's side.
And she is
deciding to play or draw. I imagine we will be picking the play.
Yeah, and I think this is probably good.
This is
you got your oven, Goose, Trail, yeah.
You got some 2 big, powerful spells should you get that land, and you got a little Gilded Goose to make sure that it bridges that gap for the lack of lands in your hand.
Yeah, combined with a Trail of Crumbs, it's going to find the lands you need.
Oh, yeah.
And Tanya is deciding on her hand, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Taking a little bit of a break. We get to admire all of the beautiful cosmetics that the Mighty Linguini has for her deck, including the nice little Regal Caracol sleeves that she's got equip.
And if you like, paper cosmetics, getting some nice single sealed product, fancy supplies, and any other TCG, please check out Card Market.
That was beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. I finally found a nice segue for that.
Tanya finally deciding to keep her 7, and we are on our way. Mighty Linguini starting us off with the good old turn 1 Gilded Goose.
Tanya also shocking in a land here with the Breeding Pool. Passing the turn.
Tale as old as time in the form of turn 1 bird. Mm-hmm. And a bit of an engine already going for the Mighty Linguini. Gilded Goose is able to sacrifice a food, make some mana that will also trigger Trail of Crumbs.
And an opt from Tanya.
Yeah, gotta make sure that we're getting the cards that we want in our hand, and likely that shock from the Breeding Pool to likely play a Growth Spiral.
Yeah, that's the ideal turn 2 play for Temur Rec. And we have our Trail of Crumbs deciding to choose a Cauldron Familiar over a second Trail, drawing our 3rd land right on time.
I was about to say a little scary that our Trail of Crumbs didn't reveal a land for us to pick from, but we drew it anyway, so it's all good.
Didn't need to. We picked the 2 non-lands and got them out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Playing the other 2 engines from our nice deck over here. And now we have 2 ways to sacrifice food. So we could get 2 Trail of Crumbs triggers and be able to pay for them on this next turn. And the Mighty Linguini's really got some engines going, and the wheels are all turning.
And Growth Spiral from Tanya at the end of turn. Puts in a temple, skies to the bottom. Didn't like that one. And, I mean, if Tanya's going to keep pace with this, she's got to have a wilderness reclamation here, you'd imagine. But Blast Zone is reasonable to take care of the oven and the goose.
Yeah, that's certainly not a bad thing to have right now.
It takes her land drop away, but, like, you're killing 2 of Linguini's permanents, and, I mean, I guess a cat. That's not really a thing.
Yeah. You'll get rid of the cat momentarily, but the cat will return with a vengeance for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't be able to answer much, but I think you'll be able to answer enough. And you'll be turning off... So right now, there's 2 separate engines that are generating ways for Mighty Linguini to accrue card advantage off of this Trail of Crumbs. And if we pop this Blast Zone, we are getting rid of basically 2 of those ways. And we're going down to Mighty Linguini really only having a half of a way to get card advantage. So I think that it is imperative that we made this decision this turn to just pop the Blast Zone, take away our land drop, but also get rid of some of these things that are going to be causing us some ire on the side of Mighty Linguini.
Yeah, she has a Wicked Wolf that can generate a food next turn. But there's a goose, so depending on what she draws, she might just play goose plus card, but...
I don't believe Wicked Wolf makes a food.
Oh, my bad.
It just
That would be really good if it did.
It would be really good.
It's been a long time since I've played.
No, it's okay. It's also been a long time since Wicked Wolf was played, so I don't blame you at all. But we got another goose. So we've got one of these engines back into play for the Mighty Linguini. Now, if we could just find another oven, we would be back in business.
Interesting that she shocked the Blood Crypt in there.
I think it's likely to sacrifice this food and also activate.
Oh, right. Yeah.
No, you're
For
good.
some reason, I thought the goose was active.
Nah, Goose is he's a little sicky from coming into play. And not the good kind of sicky.
What is the good kind of sicky?
Like, if you're, like, sick, dude, like...
Oh, right.
Sorry, I've only ever lived in California, so I definitely use that terminology and phrasing a lot more than I think some people are used to. I recently, like, hung out with somebody who's... I don't actually know where they're from, but we hung out for like maybe an hour, and then they were like, "You say sick after like everything," and I was like, "Oh no."
Well, being from Pennsylvania, I'm jealous. I wish I were in California. So California.
I did live in Pennsylvania I didn't live in Pennsylvania. I lived in Delaware, but I went to school in Pennsylvania for about 4 months before dropping out.
Wow.
And then I went back home because I didn't like it there. So I'm sure Pennsylvania has its good parts, but I was not in a good situation there.
It happens. Yeah, Tanya just replaying the same turn, the Blast Zone. So she's really behind on lands because of just trying to disrupt Linguini. But Linguini's able to generate so much card advantage from that Trail of Crumbs to basically refill her hand. And, you know, just now that all the engines are gone, just sack the Trail to Revolt and get a card for it. Why not?
Yeah, Mighty Linguini showing that she is definitely not messing around by slamming this Corvold onto the table and saying, okay, you dealt with those other things, deal with this.
Yeah, the only way to really deal with it is explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think...
You could...
A big shark.
A big shark, yeah, that would work. Also, if you have a Storm's Wrath, you could copy a Storm's Wrath and deal up to 8 damage. I think that that's like the lowest amount of mana that Tanya could spend to kill Corvold. But the moment Corvold gets over 8, which is totally possible for it to do, that becomes not so much of a realistic direction for her to take anymore.
Yeah, and, you know, not having a Wilderness Reclamation right now means that seems to be the only option to be able to handle this. Bolus's Citadel to play. Not able to get that land off the top of the deck there for Linguini, but...
Oh, there we go. Now we're taking the land.
Oh my god. So, drawing the land out of the way with the Corvold attack. And
chomping a land, drawing another land.
But we get a Mayhem Devil for 3 life, and a Forest is gonna shut off that train. Tanya maybe forgetting to use the Fabled Passage there, and just realizing she can't answer those threats. So congratulations to Linguini for game 1.
Yeah, we saw that Tanya's answers in her main deck didn't quite land up very well against what the Mighty Linguini is trying to do. So she was able to take that down. Interesting to see these sideboard cards from the side of the Mighty Linguini. I imagine these Agonizing Remorses might be coming in, but there aren't a ton of other things that she seems like she should be bringing in. Yep, all 4 copies of the Agonizing Remorse coming in. I don't think that there's anything else. There might be like a reason to bring in Noxious Grasp. Maybe the other Corvolds are good.
The third Citadel came in.
Oh, all right. Citadel certainly good. Helps catch you up in permanence against Tanya's deck. Wicked Wolf's not going to be fighting too much, so the Wolf can come out. From
Tanya's side, she's got 2 Spectral Sailors, 2 Ether Gas, 3 Scorching Dragonfires, 2 Wilts, an Uro Questing Beast that I could see coming in. Mm-hmm. What do you think about those?
I think that Tanya's deck is going to be a little more well-suited to sideboard, as we see, Caroline's kind of struggling to figure out what exactly to sideboard in this matchup, and there's not, other than the Agonizing Remorses, which were kind of like an of course, it seems like she has a lot more cards that she wants to take out than she has to put in.
Just while we were looking at that, the third Citadel came back out, and the 1 Murderous Rider came out, which I guess that makes sense when you're not playing against a bunch of Nightpack Ambushers and stuff. That's really only going to hit an Uro or the 1 Questing Beast, and I don't think you really want to hedge against the Questing Beast.
I imagine that, the Questing Beast could possibly come in. I imagine that the Wilts are coming in for the Temur Reclamation deck, the Scorching Dragonfires, the Ether Gusts, possibly the Spectral Sailors, just kind of bringing in a lot of the cheaper, more interactive spells that the Temur Reclamation deck can handle to put in against this kind of low to the ground, fill up the board quickly kind of strategy. We also did not see any of the Storm's Wraths being played in game 1. I think that they could have possibly turned the tide very well for Tanya, though. The Blast Zones were able to also get rid of the Witch's Ovens, which is pretty important.
It might have been okay with the first one, but I think the second one was kind of ugh.
Yeah, kind of time-walking yourself for twice. 2 turns in a row is certainly not where you want to be when you're also trying to untap all your lands.
Time stretching yourself.
Yeah. Certainly not exactly where you want to be. But we are underway into this second game. Tanya with all 3 colors in play. And representing a Growth Spiral.
Linguini thinking about what to do on turn 2 with this extra mana from Gilded Goose. 2 Agonizing Remorse in hand for Linguini. Deciding to go with the Woe Strider.
Turn 2 Woe Strider. Yeah, we have no more lands, so I imagine that trying to get some kind of way to fix the top of our deck to find us land drops is probably what Caroline is thinking needs to happen.
Yeah, if she had... if... Tiny's representing Growth Spiral there, so, there is a thought to play Agonizing Remorse and try to get this Wilderness Reclamation out before Tiny can play it. But unfortunately, I think you're right about having to apply some pressure and deal with the, try to find your lands versus trying to disrupt your opponent.
Especially when you have a Corvold in hand, and that's one of the best ways for you to really finish out this game as quickly as possible. It makes sense that we'd be trying to find lands, but we choose to keep this Trail of Crumbs on top. Just kidding. Stay back, little goose.
Yeah, I mean, with Gilded Goose, it's able to just trigger this turn and find the land.
Yeah. And we're also getting this engine in play. And look, there's a land. Please, into my hands, onto the field.
Notably, there's nothing in Linguini's deck that can get this Wilderness Reclamation off the board, so Tanya's mana is going to be effectively doubled all game.
Mm-hmm. We did see that Digitech Wire's deck was playing Return to Nature in the sideboard. Linguini choosing not to do that, and is just playing a more straightforward sideboard. But these Agonizing Remorses are looking a bit sad with this Wilderness Reclamation already on board, though maybe we can use them to get rid of some expansion explosions, though if we do that, we do risk getting some explosions back in our face, as you can copy Agonizing Remorse to take a look at our hand.
No play there from Tanya on the end step after untapping. I'm going to draw the Blood Crypt. Gonna fire off that Remorse.
We'll see how Tanya chooses to respond. Ooh.
I'm gonna wilt the Trail of Clums. No food, so Gwyn doesn't really have a response there. Mm-hmm. And we have a Storm's Wrath or a Wilderness Reclamation. And I guess you take the Storm's Wrath here, because mana doesn't seem to be the issue.
Yeah. Say, Tanya, you can have all the mana you want, but if you don't draw anything to do with the mana, maybe I'll be okay. But we do also have the second Agonizing Remorse. Totally possible that we say, get rid of that too.
I think, I guess if she doesn't have any more green mana, like if she had more green mana, there's 4 cards in there for Oro, but opting to just eat the Oro in case Tanya has a way to get 2 more cards, or no, just 1 more card.
Just 1 more card, which
was the Fabled Passage that was on the board. Okay.
Yeah. So heads up play by the mighty Linguini, saying it's okay if you have a bunch of mana. Hopefully, you just don't draw anything to do with it, and I will battle you on the axes that I have chosen to battle you on, as I didn't bring in any enchantment removal in my deck.
And the Fabled Passage here being able to get a second green mana.
Which will help us.
I guess we're going to see Corvold here,
I imagine Corvold is either going to eat a land or this goose. But considering that we have...
So there's an Ether Gust.
So we will still get to draw a card. So if we sacrifice and draw a card, I believe we can still draw back. Yeah. So this means that we're gonna sacrifice the goose so that we don't get to draw because Corvold's no longer in play. Duh.
Right. Yeah. It turns out the goose is cooked.
Oh, poor goose.
Actually, I think that pun's a little better if it's actually sacked in an oven.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
I tried.
Tanya showing the strength of being able to just draw a bunch of cards in her deck, but untaps her lands and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and can attack Tanya down to 9 and present this Corvold again, which is going to present lethal next turn.
Mm-hmm. Unless Tanya can say anything about it.
And she can't. So congratulations to Linguini for making our finals.
All right. And it looks like that our finals are going to be the mighty Linguini, Caroline, versus Jaina Amari-chan. Jaina Amari, her name is the same either way. So... looks like we will be going into that finals shortly. And these finals will be presented to you live. These players have not played yet, so we will be connecting with them and watching their match be played live. We do not know who the winner is. They don't know who the winner is. We're about to watch them do it up live with us, casting and watching it with you along the way.
Yeah, so Are we
going to be interviewing?
Are we going to? I'm not sure. But so like, what was what did you think about this playoff so far? Did
It's
anything surprise you?
we're seeing kind of the two biggest, most popular decks make the finals in Temur Reclamation and Jund Sacrifice. So I can't say that I'm too surprised. Those are clearly like two of the strongest decks and kind of have been in a while. I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen more of the like Bant control decks that I feel like a lot of pros are favoring currently. But we saw Caroline picked up Jund Sacrifice because she's been playing that a lot over the course of the season and is very comfortable with it. And as a result of that, is just happy to be playing what she's comfortable with. And I can understand trying to pick a deck that is something that you have played a lot with and understand and rolling with that.
Yeah. So I just want to make a quick. Oh, are we ready?
Okay.
Okay. We're going to go on a short break, folks, and we'll be back shortly with your live finals. Oh, let's look at the bracket first.
Yeah. Let's take a look at this sweet, sweet bracket with Jana Amari and Mighty Linguini put into the finals. We will be watching their final match live, and it will be deciding the winner of the VML Season 2 champion.
And almost $200.
Will it be Jana Amari, who took down last season's champion High Banana Fish, or our friend, caster, and kind of helped create the VML and has been a part of it and helped kind of keep it together and a part of the production, the Mighty Linguini? As always, also, if you're interested in seeing either of these two players that will be featured in our finals, you can check them out on Twitch. Jana Amari's is twitch.tv/Jana Amari, and the Mighty Linguini, Caroline, is twitch.tv/The Mighty Linguini.
All right. Be back shortly.
Yeah, we will see you all in just a sec for the final match. Hello and welcome back. We are here joined with the Mighty Linguini, aka Caroline. You want to say hi, Caroline?
Hello.
Hi.
I really should have said hi, Caroline. Damn it. I fouled it.
Missed opportunities. We've all had them.
So we are going to do a little short interview with Caroline about her season on the VML And do you want to kick us off, Hannah?
What if I said no?
Oh, then I can start. That's totally fine.
No, it's okay.
No is always an acceptable answer.
All right.
Wait, I can say no? Nice.
You could also say no, yes.
We're the ones asking you the questions.
If you want to not do this interview and just jump into playing Magic, we can do that.
Well, I was in the middle of a board game, so, you know.
Oh, well.
Oh.
Well, what board game was it?
Caverna. A very complicated sheep-involved board game.
So, like a very complicated Catan?
Yes, it is literally a super complicated Catan.
Okay, interesting. Cool. Well, there was your first interview question.
Nice. I got it.
Was that your first question, and now we're going back to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that one doesn't count, but.
Well, then it's your turn.
Okay. Caroline, what was your pet deck or pet card of this season of VML?
Oh man, okay, that's a good question. So it's hard because I forgot Luca existed. So I feel like I don't have my own stats, which I really should have. But I believe I played Luca the most out of all the seasons because Luca got banned after week 5.
Yeah, we only had 3 weeks in which Luca was possible to be played.
Oh, only 3 weeks.
Only 3 weeks.
Okay,
Yeah.
So then I guess it can't have been Luca. I don't know. My pet card is a Boreal Grazer, but I think I didn't register it, or maybe only registered it once.
Uh-huh.
So I think it probably goes like Jund Food, Luca, and then I think I registered Simic Ramp once, but I can't remember. Gosh, it's been a long time. 10 weeks.
It has been.
Basically
yeah,
a whole
a lot of weeks.
Yeah. But oh man, I miss Luca. I just think about it now. Thanks a lot.
Me too.
Now
I
I'm
mean,
sad about it.
Luca's still legal.
Yeah,
you can still play
ancient of
Luca.
treachery.
Those are true facts.
Well, just play Luca next season.
I like
Yeah,
it.
we'll just find a
I'll try.
new thing for Luca to cheat out that's absolutely busted, and you can play Luca again.
All right. So Caroline, is there who is your Magic role model?
Oh no. I really should have asked for the questions ahead of time. Okay.
We didn't know the questions ahead of time.
Yeah.
We're just looking at a sheet of like which ones do we want to ask, and that's a good one.
Magic role model.
Yeah.
Okay. My magic role model is a Boreal Grazer. Because they're great.
Caroline, no.
And they put extra lands into play, and they block, and they attack. They do it all just like I do.
Aww. Okay, I'll accept that. That's a cute answer.
I don't cheat.
Fine.
But no, I don't really have a magic role model.
Oh, no, that's totally fine. We love it. So, Caroline, if you could host a GP in any city or venue, where would you choose to have the event? And this could be as like crazy and kooky of an answer as you want.
Or as boring.
Or as boring as you want, yeah.
Okay.
You can have it at your house if you want.
Yeah.
Well, that's a boring answer. I would want to host it in Australia because it's of the like real continents, it's the one I haven't been to. So it's my last continent. So that's where I would want to go.
What are the fake continents?
Antarctica.
Oh, fair. Okay.
I know people who have been there, so I mean.
Yeah, but it's like literally an area of contention because some people really say that you shouldn't go. Like it's pretty bad environmentally wise.
Yeah.
So it's a big area of contention. So I say the continents that count, I need to go to Australia. But then I think a fake answer would be like a GP at like a ski resort.
Ooh,
so I could both have
fun.
a magic weekend and have a ski weekend.
I would love that.
It would be
I'm
pretty
down
amazing.
with that. That
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
That's my like real answer, I guess.
And I can't ski, so I would just be playing Magic, but it still seems like fun.
Yeah.
You could still like get really frustrated and go out and just like throw yourself in the snow and be like screaming into the snow. I'd do that at least once.
Yeah. So Caroline, what is your advice that you would give to any Magic player, anyone starting out?
Anyone starting out? I actually have taught or like interacted with people in their early stages of Magic, especially children. That's like really tough. I guess like in terms of actually playing the game, I would try and interact with the beginning, like the untap, upkeep, draw part of your turn a lot earlier than I think people tend to introduce it, because then it becomes really hard to remember later. People are just really bad at like forced memory. So if they always drew a card at the beginning of their turn when they were learning, they'll just keep doing that when they develop. But that's like a fundamental thing, I guess. In terms of like advice, it would probably just be to find the type of magic that fits you the best and kind of describe the, like, I don't know, casual versus spike versus commander. I don't know, whatever those names are. I would not use
like Timmy, Johnny, and Spike.
Well, I didn't understand the names, but I would.
Tammy, Jenny.
Yeah, I would use that space of like, hey, like find your path, and then your path can also like change. So
like what kind of decks you want to play or whatever, like what your favorite color is, and just find your little niche that you like and focus on that.
Because my store just kind of like taught me how to draft. Jesus. And it was tough because I feel like I didn't realize there was other ways to play Magic, and I actually did most of that discovery on my own, like literally taking buses for hours at a time to go to a new store. And so I feel like it would have been beneficial to have a partner in, like, hey, if you feel like you're missing out competitive, like, this is another step that you could take. So having more advice being like, oh, you can play other things. Don't worry about like what we play at our store. You can play lots of ways of Magic.
Oh. Yeah, if you ever have a problem, with that phase thing, and you could always just buy them that T-shirt.
Oh, the untap upkeep.
Yeah, and then they'll just wear it every time you play against them, and they'll never forget. It's a great educational tool.
All right. I think that is about it to wrap up our interview with you, Caroline. Thank you so much for being with us and answering your questions.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Sorry.
How do you eat your Kit Kats, Caroline?
Oh, I eat them.
Sorry, the pivotal, most important question I almost missed.
I eat them in a very normal way, like a normal chocolate bar. You just get a bite, you open up the wrapper, you just pick up the Kit Kat, and you eat it. I don't really understand why it's such a complicated process to everybody else. Like, I don't break things off, and that takes way too much time.
Unless Hershey bars can be broken off too into pieces.
No, you gotta eat those together as well.
Okay.
One big bite. Am I allowed to go beat Jana now?
You're allowed to tell us how we can find you on the internet, and then you can go play against Jana.
Okay, first I'm showing chat, like, clip of me eating a Kit Kat.
Okay,
I showed chat. You can find me on the internet on Twitter at Mighty Linguini, and MIGHTYLINGUINE. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/themightylinguini. I always stream on Wednesdays. I always have a Magic guest, but we don't always play Magic.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you having this interview, and good luck in your match.
Good
Thanks. Luck. Bye. So you're cheering for me? Okay, cool. Thanks. Bye.
No, we're impartial. How often do you eat Kit Kats on stream? Yeah, if you are interested in asking her more questions, you can go ahead and follow her stream and ask her live on stream. She interacts very heavily with chat, so you will definitely be able to ask her those questions.
Yeah, she has a pretty sweet Discord too.
Oh yeah, big fan of the Discord, the Moosers Discord.
So. Before we go into the match, we're waiting for the players to get started, but just want to say, they're playing for the shop prize is about $200 and second place is about $100. So, that's all funded by donations. And if you subscribe or donate to us, they'll be added into the pot. So you can give them a little more cash if you want. And if you're interested in joining next season, you can follow Aspirant and Swiggle Gaming on Twitter. You can type !join VML for the links. And we also have a Discord where we organize everything, or make announcements for when the seasons start. And there's also a Hearthstone League. So if you play Hearthstone, you know, you can sign up for that. That's on break right now, but we'll have a new season for that starting soon, and that's open to anyone. So not just female and non-binary players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, and we're just waiting for our players to get ready, and then we will be starting up shortly.
Oh, here we are.
All right, we're getting really into it. Good luck to our players, and let's get into it. All right, we will be watching from the side of Jenna Amari. She will be playing first.
This is a hand.
I think it seems pretty great. I don't think if you're playing Temur Reclamation, you ever care about having 5 lands, especially when one of them is a cycle land. And all of the important land types on Katria Triome to make sure that Castle Vantress will enter untapped. Not like you didn't have the island to make sure that happens anyway, but...
well, you want to get your tap land in on turn 1.
Yeah.
You know.
Mystical
Dispute, a little awkward against Gemmed.
A little awkward. It's going to be a 3 mana, please play 3 or question.
3 mana leak. And Caroline starting off with the Goose and a Trail of Crumbs, which is the ideal start for the Jund sack deck. Able to convert one of these foods into a card right away. Jana's going to grow Spiral. We got a Shark Typhoon, the draw, second one.
Never going to complain about more Shark Typhoons. Those are certainly good against the Sacrifice deck because you quickly make big things that are difficult for the other deck to destroy.
Yeah. Jana playing the second Triumph, not opting to hold it to cycle later. Which is fair. Just get your tap land in early if you want. You know, while you can. Plays a Fabled Passage. And I assume we're going to see a holding up a counterspell or a 2/2 Shark next turn.
And we've seen this song and dance before. Gilded Goose is going to be sacrificing a food for some mana, and that mana is immediately going to go into this Trail of Crumbs activation to find us this Witch's Oven. Now, if we also have a cat in the hand of Mighty Linguini, we're really in business.
Of course she does.
Of course. They always have. But we
deciding what to do here after playing that forest.
All right, maybe we don't have a cat, but we've got to activate this Trail of Crumbs to find a cat.
Yeah, I guess finding more information to figure out before you spend your mana here.
The Mayhem Devil was
deciding to go with the Woe Strider. Able to maybe scry next turn.
Yeah, possibly. Just get rid of this goat. The O1's not going to do anything, so we might as well try and figure out what our draws are going to be.
Yeah. This goat is definitely not the goat.
Yeah, this goat's not the goat, but it's trying its best. I've certainly been more impressed with the O1 goat than I ever thought that I would be, so it's the goat of O1 goats.
Fair. Veshka Forest and making a 2/2 Shark.
Yeah, we saw Jana Amari there choosing to not use the Mystical Dispute to say no to the Woe Strider and instead making a 2/2 Shark. Looks like she's trying to maybe be a little more aggressive and make sure that she's countering the more important spells on the side of Mighty Linguini, like that Mayhem Devil.
Yeah, but she definitely knows about. So, maybe that's her reason for doing that, and maybe that's why Linguini decided to lead on the Woe Strider versus the Mayhem Devil when Jana has mana up.
Jana choosing to also bottom that negate that she scryed off of the Temple of Mystery, kind of saying, I'm not really worried about the non-creature spells that are going to be coming out of Mighty Linguini's deck.
You might want to counter an Oven, but considering, she doesn't have the mana to Shark Typhoon for a 1/1 into it, it's probably better just to bottom it, because you imagine Linguini would play the Oven this turn, right?
Yeah.
And we do see that Dispute come out and counter that Mayhem Devil in a second. Goose coming in, which that food is going to be able to be converted into a card with the Trail of Crumbs.
So we
Shark
didn't.
fucking.
Yeah, we didn't see the shark attacking Mighty Linguini. Didn't really want to like attack into the goose, even though it would have killed the goose, and definitely left it back. And Mighty Linguini said, "That's okay. I'm okay with the Woe Strider and the shark trading." And so, since it seemed like Jin Amari was also planning on that happening, happily took that trade.
Yeah, she's holding the Shark Typhoon, not playing it. Showing some patience there, because I probably just play it because I want to make big sharks.
It's a little hard to convince me to play Shark Typhoon when the other 3 cards in my hand are lands.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes me a little dubious of playing the Typhoon when I don't know if I'll actually be able to make a big shark anytime soon.
So another Mayhem Devil. Is Jenna going to cycle here? No. Could have cycled the Triumph to try to find another dispute.
But we see she's not really prioritizing that, and we saw the Overgrown Tomb Shock into play, likely to play both of these Witches Ovens, or possibly a cat if we've drawn one, or just to hold on.
She can activate the trail twice.
Oh yes. If we sacrifice the goat, that makes sense.
Triumph cycling into a forest and
a breeding pool is the draw for turn. So now I'm starting to be happy that we didn't play the Shark Typhoon and draw 2 lands.
Yeah, true.
I feel like this is always how my games happen. I'm like, it's okay. We'll just hold on for a little bit longer, and then we just draw more lands. But it's we'll hope to either use this Castle Vantress to scry into some more action, hopefully some creatures that can block these incoming creatures on the side of Mighty Linguini, or just make a big shark.
Yeah, if Linguini attacks, then well, I think I was gonna say she can make a 5/5 blocker, but I think that blocker would be off the board before
before blocks could even happen.
But Linguini doing the heads up play, not attacking into the shark mana. Ooh. And we see an Uro and an expansion.
That is certainly some action. That Uro, a little bit of a double-edged sword. We would gain 3 life, but we would take 4 from both of those.
2.
No, we'd take 4. Oh, no, 2. You're right.
Yeah.
But so we would only gain 1, realistically. But we would get to throw one of these extra lands into play, which could be something that Jin Amari is interested in. And it looks like we will do exactly that.
Uro drawing expansion explosion. Gonna put a land into play.
Sacrifice.
She has.
Take some damage.
She has the Castle Vantress up still.
This is true.
And
Castle Vantress.
Or just play Uro. Right, yeah.
All right, now we'll really be netting some life.
Yeah,
because it will not be sacrificed, as it will be escaped this turn.
Oh, right, my bad.
Yeah, no. This time it's not leaving.
This time
play.
it sticks
We're good.
around. Yeah, until those Mayhem Devils decide to take it out, but she found
Mayhem Devils might try next turn.
But not enough mana to cast this turn.
Oh.
Shocked in 2 lands, so able to cycle the Shark Typhoon for a 1/1.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that
Anna
could copy with this expansion explosion as well.
Was that Caroline counting the mana with her mouse?
I think so, yeah.
Nice.
I can never decide if that's a feature of MTGA that I like or dislike.
Same.
Sometimes I'm like, really, like, I feel like they're kind of mocking me with like mousing over things, and then other times I'm like, oh, you're giving information away by like showing what you're looking at or not looking at. So I can never decide.
I've definitely trolled people with it.
Woo.
But that's
a scary reveal.
Yeah, Corvold coming into the hand for Mighty Linguini off of the Trail of Crumbs. And she's got a wealth of options here.
Assuming Caroline does not win this oh, never mind. Okay. So assuming that Caroline wasn't going to gain the 3 life from the Uro this turn, there was exactly 12 damage from the side of Jana Amari playing the Wilderness Reclamation and Expansion Explosioning on end step. So this extra 3 life that's going to be garnered from this Uro is definitely going to put a damper on that plan. And it looks like we will have to use this Shark Typhoon to make a 1/1 to block so that we are able to stay alive. And even then, the chance that it doesn't just immediately get blown up by this Mayhem Devil seems unlikely. Yeah. So this might spell the end for Jana Amari this turn.
And we're gonna cook the goose. The goose is cooked.
Goose is cooked. Make sure that Shark Typhoon comes down out of the sky, shot by the Mayhem Devil.
Yeah. Yep. Draws a breeding pool. Seen enough. Game 1 goes to Mighty Linguini.
All right, let's take a look at the sideboarding decisions. I imagine that Jana has already thought about this lots. Bring all these red cards from our sideboard, throw them into our deck.
Mm-hmm.
Take out some of these blue cards. They're not as helpful. Those 1/1 flyers, not so good in the face of Mayhem Devil. Take those out.
Yeah, we saw Linguini played this matchup last round as well, and there aren't as many creatures here.
No.
So
not as many creatures in the sideboard, but I think Jana Amari's deck makes up for them in the main board.
Oh, it was backwards. My bad.
Jana Amari, certainly more creatures, but less Storm's Wraths.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to see a lot of spot removal and also Storm's Wrath come in out of the sideboard of Jana Amari, and we'll see if those powerful red spells are enough to help keep the Joan Sacrifice deck at bay long enough for Jana to execute the game plan of either making a bunch of little wolves or finishing it off with a big ol' expansion explosion.
I imagine we'll see those Agonizing Remorses and maybe a couple Noxious Grafts come in from Linguini.
Yeah, that's how we saw her sideboard last game. So I imagine that that plan is not changing a whole lot. If anything, the Noxious Grasps are even more pivotal to have in the deck now that we are seeing how many exactly the more green creatures out of Jana Amari's deck. But as we mentioned last round as well, when Mighty Linguini was playing against a Temur Reclamation deck, she does not have any way to remove enchantments. So if Jana Amari is able to stick the Wilderness Reclamation, there isn't a way for the Mighty Linguini to handle that.
We have the turn 1 Goose for Linguini again, and Jana's got a turn 2 Growth Spiral. And having the ideal starts. And we have a turn 2 Mayhem Devil on Linguini's side.
Certainly going to be rough. We are getting ideal starts from both players. Again, Mayhem Devil going to kind of mess up some of the life gain that could come out of this Uro on turn 3.
Yeah, but Jana has more answers in her deck now for it. There's a couple Scorching Dragonfires.
Certainly
out
true.
Of the sideboard. Mm-hmm.
However, none of them are in our hand.
4 Storm's Wrath. No. Oh, only 2 Storm's Wrath. My bad. There aren't any in the main.
Only 2.
Yeah.
This Uro coming down. Will we put the Fabled Passage or the Forest into play? I imagine it will be the Forest, as Fabled Passage kind of hurts us against this Mayhem Devil.
Yeah.
Yep. Mayhem Devil gonna go pew on Jana's face. I suppose Elspeth's face. she's using the Elspeth icon.
Yeah, she's done a great Elspeth cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
So not
Makes
surprised
sense.
to see
She
that.
would-
To
yeah.
see that avatar for her. And Linguini's avatar is just a big shadowy figure, and that seems appropriate as well.
Mm-hmm. The silent killer waiting to defeat Temur
Yeah.
Reclamation. As we know, Caroline views Temur Reclamation as the enemy. And the agonizing remorse.
Janna contemplating the growth spiral here. And drawing the tap land is nice. Able to save a couple life points.
And we will get to see whether Caroline is more worried about the Shark Typhoon or the Expansion Explosion.
Or the Graveyard Oro.
Oh, or the Graveyard Arrow. That's true. I always forget that it's able to do that. Even though we watched Caroline do it versus the last Temur Reclamation player.
Yeah, I feel like, her options were a little more enticing to go for the hand here, but it's always an option. And going with the Fabled Passage. Are we close to Oro? 5 cards. So we can cycle this Shark Typhoon, or we can cycle the Triome into casting Oro.
That is probably our best bet, as the 6/6 body is also going to help protect us against these smaller things, though we are just going to go ahead and pass the turn and represent Shark Typhoon to make a big ol' shark.
Yeah, it kind of fogs the attack from Linguini, just leaving the damage only what apparently 2 Mayhem Devils and are able to do.
This is an interesting choice to cycle this Triome now, because now it allows for Caroline to attack with this Mayhem Devil. I might have held off on cycling the Triome, as it would have allowed us to still cycle the Shark Typhoon for a big enough thing to block the Mayhem Devil. Now we aren't able to do that.
Ugh. We're seeing and we're just jumping here. Yeah.
Not to mention that if Caroline wanted to, she could have also just killed the shark before
Right.
Janna was ever even able to block with the Witch's Oven and the Cauldron Familiar.
So we see Oro come down here, drawing an expansion. Gonna drop a land here. Imagine a shock land. And cycle that Triome.
Expansion Explosion, not the worst thing to draw. We do have enough lands that it would be able to clean up one of these Mayhem Devils and also draw us some brand new cards.
Yeah. Caroline has 1 card in hand, but unfortunately, Janna's still going to be able to kill that. Or Linguini's still going to be able to kill that Oro with the double Mayhem Devil Cauldron Familiar.
I believe, not this turn, on her turn, she will be able to. But
Okay, yeah.
for now we're just going to deal about 5 damage to the face between the 2 Mayhem Devils and the Cauldron Familiar ping. But looks like, we're saving some of the extra damage to just do it on her turn.
And Janna opting to shotgun those lands too, which is rough. And this Agonizing Remorse is really
forcing Janna's hand.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a thought process to copy this and get rid of the... I mean, you can't really get rid of the Cauldron Familiar because there's a food in play, but at least copying it is possibly a slightly better use of her mana, because she'll also be able to cycle the Triome after.
Uh-huh. Yeah, bring the cat back. And we're going to ping the Oro.
Yeah, work on getting rid of this Titan from the battlefield.
Uh-huh.
Whose hand are we looking at? Ours?
Which opponent?
Yeah.
Which opponent?
Ooh.
The Bolas of Citadel. Ooh.
All right.
Get out of here.
certainly a concern that you might not be able to hit anything, but Janna able to get rid of the house from Mighty Linguini's hand with that copied Agonizing Remorse, and Caroline is just going to take a look at a Katria Triome in Janna Amari's hand.
Linguini didn't... Oops. Linguini didn't play a land for a bit, so you'd imagine you'd actually hit something with that. Maybe it was a claim and she'd sequence poorly too. Like that could have been a thing.
Mm-hmm. But Caroline saying oops and then getting on with her game plan of destroying the Uro.
I mean, she's still got she's 2 for 1 herself, but she's really far ahead on board right now. She has everything going for her. Janna's got to draw into something.
Janna's got to draw into like exactly
explosion. Or
explosion. This Katria Triome has got to cycle into an expansion explosion, and then her draw for turn has to be a wilderness reclamation, and that's like the only way that I really see this game being sustainable for Janna Amari.
Yeah. Storm's Wrath is not bad though. It clears up the whole board.
Right.
Oh, but Goose can make a food though, so we'll be able to get the cat back.
Mm-hmm. But a cat is much less scary than 2 Mayhem Devils.
2 Mayhem Devils, yeah.
All right, so we're crossing our fingers for a Storm's Wrath.
No, it's a land.
Castle Vantress.
It's the price you pay for playing 29 lands in your deck.
Yeah.
She's going to scry, maybe?
We do have enough mana to be able to scry into a Storm's Wrath, so I think that this is a good
That's not enough.
That's not enough. Just barely. I think, we need to bottom both of these and look for exactly Storm's Wrath. It's the only way.
Yeah. That's sad.
We see Janna Amari kind of looking at the board, making sure that there's no way that this thing that she's seeing for real could pull her out.
Only 2 cards in the graveyard, one of them an Uro, so not able to get that life gain in that body. And we see the cards go to the bottom. And the draw is a growth spiral. That's not going to do it.
Yeah, and we don't have enough mana to draw into Storm's Wrath. I don't know if I would have even drawn.
There's a cat. Or a wolf. Good game.
And
congratulations to the Mighty Linguini for winning Season 2 of the Venus and Mercury League and teaching us the right way to eat a Kit Kat. And it's not what we've been doing.
That's really what Caroline won. Caroline won proving to us the correct way to eat a Kit Kat.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to the Mighty Linguini, Caroline. And also congrats to Janna Amari for making it this far. Good games. Well played. You made it quite far, so congratulations there. Do you have any closing thoughts and remarks?
Just want to give another shout out to our sponsor, Card Market, for being a great place for singles, sealed product, supplies, other TCG needs.
Yeah. Thank you very much to Card Market for sponsoring us and helping keep us going for sure.
And again, if you want to join, type !join VML in the chat and get our links for our Twitter and Discord. And if you're interested, you can follow me on the internet on Twitter at AnnaJaneMTG, same as my handle here.
Yeah, and I'm going to do a final thank you to Phoebe for doing production. Thank you very much. Thank you to Aspirant CCG and Swagaway Gaming for helping put this all together and giving us this tournament for women and non-binary Magic players to have a nice competitive space to be playing Magic in. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also thanks to all of the competitors. It was a great season. It was really bypassed my expectations. From season 1, how far this has grown in like a few short months, and shout out to everybody involved in production, the other casters, Lady the Crease, Linguini, Nefet.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Anna, for helping hold down the fort while our other competitor or casters were either competitors in this top 8 or couldn't make it today. Thank you for holding down the fort with me. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Of course.
All right. Have a great night, y'all.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah.
And we'll see you in season 3.